days. Is he on 100 days exactly?
Pardon me.
Pretty close to it.
Well,
What day is Trump's term on?
it's his
But
first failure.
today we got the soy pill. We got Grid One Motorsports here to discuss things on Unreasonable Man on YouTube. Let's go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell everybody who you are, what you are. We'll start with you, Grid.
Yeah, so I'm Grid One Motorsports. I'm an Unreasonable Man is the name of my channel. You can find it at Grid One Motorsports on YouTube. I do stream to Twitch and all the others sometimes, but not very much lately. And I'm trying to figure out how to make all this work, because I don't normally go through Discord, so let me...
So the easiest way, pop it out as its own window cap that in Streamlabs.
Yeah, it's probably...
Anyway, while he's doing that, soy pill.
Yeah, hey, I'm the Soy Pill. I make video essays. I got roped into this 3 minutes ago, and so I'm underprepared and ready as hell. And nice to meet you, Grid. Let's talk about Donald.
Fantastic. Yeah, so we're as we all know, we're approaching the Trump 100-day mark here. As of today, we are now at 68 days. The only reason why we're doing the 100-day thing is because that was our original topic that I got told about at 5 a.m. last night. So I figured we'll just keep it as that. We can grade it. We'll check figures as we go. Good old ChatGPT and Grok won't never steer us wrong.
Let's just Google it.
Yeah, Google. And if not that, Google will be fine. I don't think anybody here is really the source kind of guy. Some people, so I think we'll be all right.
Good, I'll lie a lot.
So let's Grid. Let's start it off with you. What do you think of the Trump so far? How do you grade it? What are your thoughts? All that good jazz.
I mean, I'm going to rate him like probably in the... If I had to give him a grade, it's like a B+. There's some things I wish that he obviously could do better, but it's it's all fine right now. I do think that I think he's toned down the rhetoric a little bit, but maybe not quite enough. He still says things that people take at face value when he's actually just being very rhetorical and bombastic to an extent. But overall, pretty happy. I have criticisms, just like I have criticisms of anyone else, but overall, pretty good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Soy Pill, what are your thoughts, grades?
Yeah, I wish I had a little more time to compile everything, but I'm just going to name all of the things off the top of my head that I think are going horribly. I think that Donald Trump has shown the vast incompetence in his administration. He's appointed a man who does not know what he's doing to the Health and Human Services Department. We have leaks coming out of our Department of Defense. Our NSA director or advisor is having his Venmo contacts public. Just all sorts of terrible shit happening. We're destroying our soft power. We are losing our ability to communicate and negotiate with other countries. Canada is not our friend. Greenland is not our friend. The EU is not our friend. People are pulling out of deals. This is maybe one of the most catastrophic presidencies I have at least had in my lifetime, if not in America's lifetime, considering how much we are torpedoing our accountability. And it's pretty fucking bad. So I will get into the details on that, but that's just my summary, my overview of, things are really bad. Now, I will stipulate or concede that if you are a Christian nationalist who wants America to be an isolationist country and not have any sort of relationships with other people, no influence other than with their incredibly strong military, then you're probably pretty happy. I think, gay marriage is going away. Abortion's probably going away. We're going to have Christian nationalist policies influenced by this, theocratic ideas. And if you're a fan of that, you're actually probably, it's going to be hard for me to argue with you. Those are just what you want. And I can argue that it's bad for me, but you'll probably be pretty satisfied. So, and I give him a D if you're giving him a B+.
A D.
Not failure, because we're not all dead yet.
Giving him the D, huh? I see. I should have known that was... No, I'm just kidding. All right, yeah, so perfect. I think that you mentioned this right off your opener, Soy Pill, and this is a good place to start because I know you're at least prepared for this, right? Because we talked about it last night. Pete Hegseth, basically, let out some stuff in the memos, and a little bit of concern. I've heard some people on the right saying this is similar to Hillary's email scandals. What do you have to say about that, Grid? Do you think this is similar to Hillary email scandals? How bad do you think this is? Because this is in the news cycle this week. Let's just start with the easiest one right off the bat. Grid.
I I'm sorry, you're gonna have to give me that again. I was distracted.
Yeah,
trying
sure.
to set
So
up this Discord.
no, that's fine. So Pete Hexgath, he's in the news this week. It's been in the
Yes.
news cycle.
The
I've
signal app
Right.
thing.
I've seen righties, my fellow righties, have complained recently. Some of them in my IRL real life circle have complained. They've compared this to the Hillary email scandals, and they said, "Why has Fox News told us it's bad for 16 years, and then now, we're hand waving it." What do you have to say to something like that from the criticisms from people on the right, even?
Yeah, I mean, look, and I think it was a bad choice to use Signal at all. I think it's an even worse choice. I mean, I can understand some of the things that we all play into where it's easy or hey, everybody's using this particular software, like using Discord tonight instead of just looking it up on Streamlabs or some shit. But I get it. I've never bought into the security of Signal. I'm slightly familiar with it, not super familiar with the actual use of it, and I would I would never use it for a group thing like that. And I wouldn't. I don't know that I would. Just the way it went down, it just seems like there was an expectation that the reality didn't meet, right? Like for some reason, they thought that the Signal app was going to be secure, but it's not secure if somebody can literally just invite somebody in and you not know it, and they can screen capture everything that you're doing. So that seems just like
Well, they
this
did
seems
know
like
actually. They get a notification at the bottom when someone joins the group chat. So it's secure as far as like end to end, as long as no one's found out a way to hack through the open source code. But as of now, yeah, like they could see their screenshots of it. Hey, Jonah Goldberg joined the chat, or not Jonah Goldberg, whatever his name is. But yeah, like they knew he was there. They just didn't care because they're not paying attention and they're doing a bad job.
Yeah, I think it was a large group, right? It was
Sure,
it was
yeah.
multiple people, and not everybody knew.
And not a single one of them caught it. Yeah,
behind it.
unfortunately. So
Yeah,
yeah,
not
our
everybody knew
national
everybody
security
behind it.
director,
So
our
if you ever see a
NSA
name at the bottom
director,
of the page,
our
you're like, "Yeah,
director of
okay."
the DoD, like they're all kind of pretty incompetent, it seems.
Well,
Um,
for the righties, right? Like I know, like I said earlier, this is the equivalent to Hillary's emails. I mean, what's the famous thing that Trump said? Like lock her up, all this stuff. Are you against like firing Pete Hegseth for this, and the other people involved, or maybe some heads will roll for this kind of fuck up grid, or do you think this is just a one off? We should just move on by. What is your opinion here, Greg? Because I know Soy Pill's critical, and I'll let him get in on this. But what is your thoughts here on this specific one?
I mean, my thoughts are, I guess it's the kind of the same thing. I mean, it's really, I mean, I can't go along with. It's equivalent, but it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like this is where literally a guy was given access by somebody else who didn't have permission to give access, and for whatever reason, it just went unnoticed, or they didn't care, or the group was, there's 19 people, and the guy was at the very bottom, and they didn't scroll down, and whatever it was, whether or not the information is classified, declassified, I honestly, that's the least part of the issue to me, right? The issue is that their procedures were so lax. I can't think of a better word. Is it just
Negligent,
lax.
incompetent.
Well, I could also say trusting and unfamiliar, but yeah, sure. I do think that whoever set it up had a lot of faith in this and had a lot of faith in the people that was not well earned, right?
Do you think we should have faith in Trump's cabinet picks?
I don't have a problem with Trump's cabinet picks. I have a problem with the guy who actually invited this news person in, who is literally an anti-Trump, anti-everything guy. Like, why is that guy involved? I mean, who thought that was a good idea?
Who was that?
Sorry. So I'm saying Michael Waltz invited Goldberg, right? But do you trust Michael Waltz? He's the national security advisor appointed by Trump.
I mean, I don't know that I don't know if I trust him now. I mean, I probably would have before he invited someone that's a known bad person, or not bad person, but a known leaker of.
He's not a Trump loyalist for sure, and I mean, actually, he handled this with remarkable integrity, considering he didn't leak it until they kind of came out and said none of it was classified, and removed himself from the chat once he realized that he was not supposed to be there.
Yeah,
Again, I think this
is
is more
that
of a
Michael Waltz
breakdown
or
of.
is that Michael
I think
Waltz
this
or
is
is
more a
that the
breakdown of
journalist himself?
procedure, right? Like I have this. I had the same thing happen to some degree in my company, right? Where people that were not supposed to be in meetings were just randomly invited because somebody thought they should be there.
Mhm.
I'm like, why is this fucker here?
Did you
Right?
punish
Yes.
them, or did they have any
What the
repercussions,
problem
or
is?
what
Well,
happened?
Michael Walls. So just a cursory Google search that I just did here. Big time research advocates here.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm not
Wait,
googling.
you did
Uh,
Google first, not ChatGPT? What happened, Admiral?
Yeah. Well, it was just happened to be what I had up at the time.
Mm.
Either way. But that's interesting. Michael Walls apparently has his Venmo is public. I guess it's the new thing circulating today, and it's all full of journalists. That like on the surface, that seems sus to me. Does anybody else here find that sus?
Well, it's just completely negligent, all right? He's like someone who's worked in the Pentagon prior to this. He's aware of how security information leaks happen. He's completely aware that he should not be using these public platforms to have these sort of communications, and he's doing it anyway because he's either trying to hide the information, maybe because they don't want the, like as with the Mueller report, these communications to be investigated like 2 or 3 years from now, or they're just stupids. It's either stupid or malicious or both, but either way, these people shouldn't be in the positions of power they're in. And I mean, Grid, you seem to agree that it's at the very least not good, and you wouldn't trust Michael Waltz anymore. So I would hope that this would be something that would make you question a Donald Trump appointee who clearly, he says I have the best people, and then he puts someone like this in and has a colossal fuck up. I think that should make you question his other picks, and I think it should make you question whether or not you should put your loyalty behind someone who's picking people that are not doing a good job.
Great.
Okay, so I don't disagree with. I mean, in a way, I don't disagree with that. I think Waltz. I don't know enough about Waltz to know whether he's a good pick or a bad pick. I don't know if he's good at his job or bad at his job.
But what about now, though?
But what I do know is that he apparently made a very stupid mistake, and that needs to be reconsidered. Right? If we all hired winners every time, then business would never suffer, unfortunately, and nobody would get fired. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. And honestly, I don't know that Waltz did it himself. I don't know that some staffer just added somebody to the list.
Oh, he's taking responsibility for it as of now,
my problem is more with
he's
the
lying.
Procedure here, right? Like there's got to be a procedure in place for who gets to invited to these meetings and why they're there.
There is a
and
procedure
what kind
for
of
this,
credentials are involved,
and they're not following it.
Yeah, it seems like it's fast and loose, right?
Yeah, there are dedicated channels for this that they use in war rooms and embassies and in the houses of these people's, like the president's house, the senators' houses, the DOD's, the heads' houses. Like they have secure channels for this. I forgot what it's called again. Like there's some technology they use that is government approved, and they're not using that. They're using Signal, which is specifically advised against by the Pentagon. So regardless of even this ever got out, if we found out this was happening a year from now, and it didn't even take into account that this maybe would have compromised this Yemen strike, it's clearly I guess a dereliction of duty and either incompetence or it's negligence or it's malicious. But whichever of those three it is, you say I don't know if he was a good pick. Maybe he had the credentials. I don't know. I didn't know about this guy until this happened. But now I would hope that you would at least call for this guy to step down, maybe face criminal charges because it is violating the law to be negligent and leak secure information. But would you do that? Would you call for this person to step down, be replaced by someone at least a little more competent?
Sorry, I got my phone ringing here. Give me 1 sec, guys.
Yeah, take your time.
I apologize.
I mean, I personally, I'll step in while he does that. Let's see if I can fix my thing here. Take away my grid view. 1 second. I'll have a technical issue. I'll be right back. As well. I have all the problems. So
I'm being phone mogged right now. That's every time someone corners me, just take out your phone, get a call, guys.
So, yeah, I mean, I would say that I have issues with it to some extent. I'd probably want him fired. Personally, if it was up to me.
Okay, I respect that. I mean, it's pretty bad. Like, it's really, really, really bad.
I mean, yeah, there we go. I found it. I don't know what happened there. All right, it took away my grid view option. Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, it doesn't seem good. It doesn't seem good that we got a guy that added a journalist, and then, like I said, upon further review, he's got 200 journalists in his Venmo. Not saying that someone paid somebody, but. I find that suspicious.
I don't think anyone's paying anyone. I think that's just a matter of Venmo. Knowing that he has that public, that means he probably let Venmo access his contacts. So anytime he's ever reached out to a journalist, now they are in his Venmo. That doesn't mean he was Venmoing those journalists necessarily. I just think it's dumb to have your Venmo public. That's very stupid and incompetent. So
that's also true. Yeah, I mean, both of those are true statements. I know that, what is it, PayPal? Like, it also does that, where you people can see you make PayPal payments and stuff. I know when I had my identity stolen a few years ago, LifeLock told me straight up I can't no longer use Venmo. Right? Wow. They said if I use it, it voids their contract with them. And so, I mean, it's crazy to me that if LifeLock has that security thing on there, that the U.S. government wouldn't have that as a security thing with Venmo, which I don't know. I don't know if that applies to Signal, but...
Sorry, what is LifeLock?
So they're an agency that you can pay to, like, if you have someone steal all your socials and all your identity, and they will they have I don't know, $1 million guarantee.
Oh, LifeLock. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They go and protect you from identity theft. So they basically were like, hey, you can't use Venmo. It's a security issue.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it's interesting that the government doesn't have that for classified people that handle classified documents, but
they do. I'm pretty sure they have something where they have incredibly strict security protocols for these things, and to find a way to get around those is you have to have tried. You have to have said, oh, I am going to intentionally not use the lines of communication that we otherwise would that are government approved and use Signal instead. So this was a choice. It was not hey, someone told me to do this, or this is the government approved thing to do. It's not. So
no, yeah, I absolutely agree. I find the Signal thing choice. I don't know how comparable Venmo is to Signal, right, in this regard, but I do find it concerning that they're talking about these things on an app that they don't have full control of, because they do have an ability. I guess it's a pain in the ass, but isn't it purposely supposed to be a pain in the ass? It's kind of my understanding.
Well, let me say this. I will say, if you're comparing Venmo and Signal, and this is, I don't know if you use either of these, but Venmo, especially if you had all your, you can't. So if you have Venmo purchases active public, which it seems that he did, anyone can go and read exactly how much money you paid, or not how much, but exactly what you paid for and who you paid. So it's who the contact is, who the sender is, who the receiver is, and the message that says what it's for. The difference between that and Signal is, to my knowledge, still, there's no breach in this, end-to-end encrypted. So it's not stupid to think that Signal is a little more secure than SMS or any of those other things that can be hacked. Technically, because it's open source, a Russia or any other bad actor could potentially find a vulnerability, but to my knowledge, I mean, obviously, if they could find a vulnerability, they wouldn't tell you. But to my knowledge, even the government said, hey, government employees, not people doing, secure war defense planning or whatever, but, if you're just texting someone, I recommend you use Signal instead of SMS if you don't want China or Russia to use these things, because it is a little more secure. So that was what that memo from CISA in 2023 or 2024 December was. They were telling government employees, hey, for just these casual things, you might actually want to use Signal. Now they've since retracted, or I don't know if they've retracted it, but past this leak, they're like, okay, just don't even use Signal, period. But it's clearly, you'd have to know that you are not using what you're supposed to be using to go use Signal. It's more secure than texting, but it's absolutely not where you should be putting the detailed locations, weapons, and timing of a plan on a foreign country in.
Yeah, I tend to agree with most of that. I definitely feel like when heads roll, when shit happens at my companies, and shit that fucks up like this, somebody gets fired. If it's that substantial, if someone leaked out personal confidential information to somebody else, I'd be firing people. You can't have clients lose all their info to because of you. That's a no-no. Great, it looks like you're back here. Are you?
You're muted if you're having.
You're muted. You're muted though. You're muted on your end.
My bad. I had a phone call, so I had to. I'm sorry. Apologize.
You're good. You're good. Absolutely.
It was technically unplanned, and my wife
was that Pete Hegseth?
I'm sorry.
Was that Michael Waltz calling you?
No.
Is your Venmo check in the mail? If it is, feel free to send some my way. No, all right. So moving on.
Okay.
The way I think we're going to do this, I'm just going to fire bullet points here because it's a lot of things in Trump's first 68 days. Let's talk about the other big news, I guess, in the last 24 hours was Canada saying that the alliances with the U.S. are basically done, and then Trump today saying they had a very productive call. What are our thoughts on this? We'll start with you this time, Soy Pill. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the way that Donald Trump is attacking Canada is ridiculous. I mean, talking about, or even something you said at the beginning that kind of stood out to me. I noticed you didn't really say any specifics, Grid, about like what you really liked. I mean, I'm sure there. I'm not accusing you of being vapid or anything. I'm sure there are things that you could point to, and we'll get to those. But one thing you did say was people are getting upset because of his rhetoric, because he's saying things and he's not really like meaning them. And this has kind of been an earmark of Trump's presidency. It's like, oh, he doesn't really mean what he says, and it's a defense for all of the egregious and ridiculous things that he says. So when he says things like "Let's make Canada the 51st state," it doesn't matter if he's joking. What matters is he's the president, and he's doing things that would imply that he does want to make Canada the 51st state. He does want to take over, and he's ruining our relations with an ally. He's talking crap about a trade deal that was signed with them because he says, "Oh, we have a trade deficit" or something like that. Which I'm not even sure he knows what a trade deficit is. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but he signed that deal. Now he's imposing tariffs on Canada that are hurting American businesses because he's under the implication that, hey, all these industries and factories are going to come back, but just 2 or 3 years after we completely tank the economy and completely screw investors over because they're completely uncertain about what the market's going to be. I just think he is destroying every goodwill we've had with not just Canada but all of our other countries. And I do think that would he have the ability to, he would invade and take it over and make it the 51st state. So not very happy with how he's treating them.
Rick.
Okay. Yeah, so I read, and I don't know how accurate this is because, I mean, can you really believe the press? But I read that on some article about how they were laying off like 250,000 Canadian employees because of the tariffs and trade restrictions, and that's a tragedy for them. But I gotta say, their socialist policies got them to that point. So I'm not, and I can't. I find it hard to really care what happens in Canada. I don't necessarily.
Could you elaborate on that? What do you mean the socialists?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Let you talk.
Yeah, I'll stop.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't actually consider Canada much of an ally. I consider them more of at best, the guy next door that leaves his trash in my yard and parks his beat up 4-wheel drive on the fucking driveway, Gibbs. And I don't really. It's kind of like Mexico, but with a slightly bigger wallet, and I just don't care. I wouldn't mind annexing Canada, except that I don't want to pay the bill for it. At the end of the day, Trudeau drove their country to savage state, and they're going to suffer. And I think short term, maybe tariffs hurt more than we think they are. I don't know. I remain unconvinced. We'll find out here shortly. I really like the idea of how the other countries are responding by dropping their tariffs or lowering their tariffs they've had in place for decades. And I really find it interesting. And maybe you can explain this because you seem like a bright guy. Why is it that every other country in the world can put a tariff on our goods, which is what makes our goods so expensive, but we get pissed off when we tariff their goods so that our goods are, so that we compete on an equal playing field? I actually believe in free trade, free of government interference. I am actually an isolationist. I believe, and I won a debate on that the other night, and handily, I should say. I think that if it hurts, it hurts. But if it hurts and gets us to a better place, that's better than the alternative of our never-ending spending, which at some point will crash down upon our ears, and we'll be in the next Great Depression or some other thing like that. It's just not sustainable, and I'm all for, and I'm going to use a word that you leftists should absolutely enjoy and covet and love. I'm all about sustainability, and the way that we're treating our economy is not sustainable. So Trump needs to fix that. Trump is going to fix it. So good.
Okay.
Sorry, Soy Pill, I talked a
Yeah,
little.
yeah. No, you're good. By the way, at the beginning, like when I interrupt, it's only because like I know we're saying a lot of points. I'm not trying to do it to like undermine you. Just I want to like hit on one thing. Sometimes I can't remember it all. Feel free to do it back the other way. So the first thing, this idea that Canada is socialist, I think, I mean, obviously on a spectrum compared to us, sure it is, but I mean, like because they have universal health care, they're very much still a capitalist country. There's no like workers owning the means of production. But I to say that the 250,000 layoffs are because of Trudeau, I mean, they're happening because of the tariffs, right? Steel workers are being laid off because steel is now way too expensive. They can't afford to pay all of their employees. It's happening because of the trade war that Trump is imposing. Now, whether or not you care about that, like you said, if you don't care, you don't care. That's fine. I mean, I care, but it's fine if that's your opinion on it. But it's not because of Trudeau's socialist policies. Just because you asked in good faith, and I appreciate it if you think I'm bright, why do people get mad about us tariffing? It's not just because we're putting tariffs, right? So every president does tariffs. Tariffs are a natural part of the ebb and flow of trade. Sometimes we want to be more protectionist. We are notoriously...
I appreciate you admitting that.
Which thing?
I appreciate you admitting that.
Oh, yeah. No, so anyone who just says...
The line that the common line, economic experts say that tariffs are universally bad or whatever.
So yeah, I think that might be an interpretation. I know some people might say that and they not know. They just think, oh, tariff bad. Because I'll admit this, I did not focus on tariffs until very recently when they became a big talking point, right? Like I knew what they were, but I had to go do some research on them because I don't think this is something that your day-to-day person thinks about. But the thing is, they've always been there, right? We do some tariffs on certain products that we want our farmers to have an easier time doing. I think soybeans is one of them because we say, hey, look, like China could do this for way cheaper. They pay their workers way less, but we don't want our farmers to go bankrupt. So we've been doing stuff like that for, as far as I know, like the history of America. However, what Trump was doing, and which is very different, and what people is upset, and which is, I think, tanking our economy right now, is proposing these blanket tariffs, these massive tariffs on an unprecedented scale. So I think in his campaign, he said, let us put a 25% tariff on every incoming good. This is, and if you do believe in free trade, this is completely the opposite of free trade. I mean, it's interesting. You said you're free trade. You also said you're isolationist. These are kind of conflicting ideas. Free trade is kind of this globalist idea of, hey, let's have as little restriction on trade with every country as possible. Maybe there's some comparative advantage from Taiwan. They're better at making chips, so we can get our chips from Taiwan. Mexico has cheaper manufacturing. We can get our car parts from there. And that is a globalist idea. It's very anti-isolationist. Isolationists would
actually. I want to stop you just for 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. No, anytime you need to.
Actually, I'm not interventionist. I just have to use the term isolationist so most people.
Okay, so you just mean I don't want to go do wars in other countries. Not we shouldn't communicate and trade.
I don't believe our country should dictate economic policy. I do not believe that our country should subsidize other foreign nations at the expense of our taxpayers. Mm-hmm. And I believe that militarily, all of our military belongs within our borders, and us providing the veil of security for the world is a bad thing.
Okay, we can get on that. But I guess just the last thing I'll say about the tariff thing is, people and economists don't think tariffs are bad, period. Every country does tariffs. Economists think that the precedent of tariffs, the degree of tariffs that Trump is imposing and the way that he's doing it, first of all, the purpose is, I want to bring back American industry, and it's clearly not working. You can, if you want like a historical precedent with Trump, you can look at I think it's 2019, maybe it was 2017, the steel tariffs. It really didn't bring industry back, and you kind of look at all of the analyses. At worst, at best, it was neutral. At worst, it actually hurt our economy and our steel industry. And he's doing this under this veil of, I can use these tariffs to bring back American industry, and it just doesn't seem to be something that anyone thinks will happen, at least to the degree of all the smartest economists in the world. Now, if you're hesitant to defer to those experts, I understand that. I understand questioning experts. I don't think you shouldn't, but I just don't know who else you would trust for this. And it seems like across the political spectrum, they all kind of agree that this is not going to work. But do you want to talk about this idea of like you don't want to be the world police?
Well, I want to make clear one thing to my chat here real quick. I do not co-sign that. That's a conservative. I definitely have a much different take on that. But go ahead, Grid.
But you want to be wait? Are you not you want to be the world police, Gibbs?
No, I want to be an imperialist and just like start
Oh
conquering
yeah,
these countries.
yeah,
Like,
okay.
yeah, let's just like take over
Monarchy.
Haiti. Like, tell me, hey, well, all right, we're gonna derail if we do this, but
Yeah,
go
I
ahead,
got you.
Grit, answer this thing, and then
Yeah,
we can have that debate
I'm not
later.
an imperialist. I do not. You do not hear the Empire Death March playing in the
Yeah,
background over here. Um, so I want to take it back 1 second before we move into the, because I don't want to move off topic. 'Cause you said something really important about subsidizing soybeans,
Mhm.
and the reason that we have to do that is not because we don't want China to China can sell them here cheaper. It's that we want U.S. farmers to grow those instead of growing other crops, and this has actually hurt us many times over throughout the last, I don't know, 100 years. Where and the most famous example is Jimmy Carter said to grow corn, grow corn, grow wheat. We're going to grow all these things. We're going to sell them to Russia. We were going to sell them to the Ukraine, and it didn't work. And you may remember, have you ever heard a song by John Cougar Mellencamp, "Blood on the," pardon me, "Scarecrow"? Blood on the
Probably.
scarecrow, blood on
I
the
have a
farm.
white boomer dad, so I almost definitely have heard it in the
Okay,
garage.
good, good, good. Yeah, yeah. I'm old. I'm old. I remember this. I remember the white crosses in the town squares, uh, one cross for every farm that was auctioned off. Because what happened is Carter told them to grow, 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 do all of this stuff, and they did, and it took out massive loans because farming is a very poor business model. But they take out all these loans to buy seed, to buy equipment, to buy fuel, and then at the end of the year they sell the crops and they pay back the bank and they have money left over. And they did that. The only problem is nobody bought that wheat, nobody bought that corn, nobody bought any of that. And so we constantly meddle in markets. The government does. When I say we, I mean the government. I'm not talking about you, and I'm not talking about
Yeah,
me.
yeah, us America, yeah.
I'm talking about our government.
Proverbial we.
Yeah, the proverbial we here, and we're wrong. We get it wrong so often that we should not be doing it. Right? Um, you can't point to a foreign war or police action. So we haven't had a war since World War II. You can't point to a single military involvement that we've been in the last 70 years that has worked out for us. Not
Uh,
one.
Bosnian genocide. I think we did a pretty good job stopping that. I'm a big supporter of that.
But then the Serbians and Croatians went right back at it and started killing each other all over again. They were
Sure,
still
but
killing each other.
we've secured the independence and security of the Albanian Muslims in Kosovo. I think they're doing pretty well and recovering pretty well. At least
well,
last time I was there in 2012, they're doing pretty well. So
just to throw this out here, that kind of really, I don't know, like for every good we do, I do have a concern here. Like sometimes it's the I don't know our politics, but like why like I have a friend who's Kurdish, right, and we left them out to dry. I find our policy kind of inconsistent on both sides when we talk about
Mm.
going overseas and invade, like stopping the Serbian genocide, but we're gonna let Saddam Hussein gas the Kurds. It's or ISIS kill the Kurds and whatever, or Turkey kill the Kurds, and I find it just interesting, like I don't know, maybe this is a meta analysis, like which genocides are the ones we're all mad about and which ones we're not.
Yeah,
Like
I mean it's
that's a more of a
and
meta
that's
thing. I don't know why
yeah
I went off on a tangent
that's
right there.
beyond
I'm
the
sorry.
scope of this. I just kind of wanted to, again, I think Trump is trying to draw us out of the world stage as much as possible while retaining what might we can have. And I think that that's a good thing. And he can do that through tariffs. He can do that through other means. And I'm okay with it.
well,
I really am.
do you think
I'm
he's doing
actually
that when
really
he?
okay with it.
I understand your point, but do you think he's doing that when he's talking about like annexing Greenland or the Panama Canal? Like it really does seem like he is doing imperialist
Well, I
things
think
at
the
the same
Panama
Oh, that's
time.
Canal,
perfect. I want to talk about that, Greek, because you just brought this up in your last kind of thing, maybe a few minutes ago. You
yes.
said I don't want to pay for Canada, like whether we
Mhm.
invade or we buy it or whatever. Now I have floated several proposals previously on like how we could buy Greenland. I've seen that come about, right? What is the fundamental difference to you in regards to like Greenland and buying Canada? What do you see the fundamental difference as?
I mean, I think that it's. I mean, look, I have not. We'd have to annex Greenland, right? They would basically have to vote. I mean, not Greenland, Canada. They'd have to vote unilaterally to be a part of the U.S., which I think honestly most of them would at this point. But
I think the polling doesn't support that. If you
really
see in the polling, yeah, no, most Canadians
I'll
do
have
not want
to
to
look
become
again,
a part
but
of
the last time
American.
I looked at the polling, it was pretty heavily weighted towards being part of the U.S. So and the Greenland thing is weird to me. It seems like that should be a pretty straightforward international deal. There's only 58,000 people that live on that hunk of rock. It does have some minerals. It does have some value. I mean, it's not worthless ground, but it's
Real quick, I'll link
freaking
this
Canadian.
to you, Gibbs. It's a YouGov poll said 15% of Canadians support it. 8% not sure, 77% strongly or somewhat opposed. But this is a YouGov poll. I don't know like what sources you've been looking at, but
I don't know.
yeah.
I forget what I saw a poll where it was something like 53% said okay, and a bunch of undecideds and whatever. It doesn't matter.
I'll just make a group DM so if you want to post some sources or something.
Yeah, that sounds good. For now, it's in your DM chat. But I just don't think Canada wants this. I think the same thing for Greenland. It's 6%. So the problem is Trump is continuing this rhetoric of, hey, I'm going to do this. He talks about these potentially peaceful options. Like, don't get me wrong. If somehow Canada said 90% of Canada voted, or even like a majority, however their political system works,
Sure.
like, let's become part of America, I'd say, okay, look, I don't know why they'd want that. Maybe it's to make their currency better because their monopoly money sucks. But, I understand. Like, it's like, okay, that at least they're voting on it. There's a democratic
Maybe they
process.
just
Okay.
want everyone to forget about war crimes.
Maybe, yeah. But here's the thing: they're not. All right, so, like that's not going to happen. That's like a pie in the sky thing. And so the only other way this is going to happen, and he's continuing to push for it, is military force or some sort of like egregious, overuse of our hard power. And it seems, I mean, this stranger things have happened, and NATO has already talked about should we be putting troops on the border of Greenland to defend against an American incursion, which is one of the scariest things I've read all year. That was like
that would be hilarious. That would actually be really hilarious.
Well, hilarious in the sense of
hilarious?
they thought they could maybe take the U.S. military, because you're right, we are the strongest military. We'd stop, NATO.
No, I mean it's just hilarious that NATO thinks they can do anything without the U.S.
No, I right. Again, I understand that. What I'm saying is, that's funny that it's like, yeah.
Who's going to give them a ride? They don't even have airplanes.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is,
Titanic. You're gonna. Come on, man.
What I'm saying is
let's
that's terrifying that we would go to war with Europe to annex a independent country that doesn't want to be a part of the U.S. That is insane to me. Like, I don't think we should do that. And I think that American troops or European troops dying over this piece of land that Trump is pushing for is very scary. So I very much hope he doesn't do this imperialistic action. But
hold on. Let me ask a question. So you said that it's scary, right? So are you renouncing like Manifest Destiny or invading Mexico and conquering all of like the California area and all that? Like, do you think it's always bad when someone gets conquered and brought into the fold, or are you saying that only specifically in this case?
Well, are you talking about like in our history, like the conquering and all that?
Would you say that?
It's hard for me to put a moral compass of today onto like, obviously I can look back and say I don't like the way the conquistadors, killed all of these Native Americans. I don't like the way that Europeans came in and slaughtered people and took over their land. And like I think in a modern lens though, we can see that, yeah, okay, maybe that was bad back then. It doesn't matter. This has happened. Maybe we can rectify it. I don't know. But now we shouldn't be doing this to independent sovereign countries. I mean, the whole reason that we're like defending Ukraine is like, hey, like Russia's taking over their sovereignty. They're defending themselves. And in the same way, I would say, people should fund the shit out of Greenland if America's going to attack it. Like, why should we get our might?
You think international rules-based order is good?
That are living there?
Sorry, say again.
All 58,000 people that live on.
So yeah, I guess this is going to go to you, Grid. So he basically, from what I understand, he's a fan of international rules-based order. You're wanting to go to a more isolationist stance, not like full isolationist. It doesn't seem like, but
taking over Greenland is not isolationist,
which is not isolationist, right? Yeah. So do you
hold on? Conquering is not intervening.
But it's not isolationist either.
Yeah, I mean,
conquering's just that's just real estate.
Well, so if you're anti-interventionalist, that's I understand that you're like, hey, I don't think we should be subsidizing or defending these countries that have nothing to do with us. But I mean, I actually do want to get to that in just a second. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't use the word isolationist because it's very much mutually exclusive from invading Greenland.
Yeah, I guess here's where I really am at on the Greenland Canada thing. if we wanted to annex Canada, all we'd have to do is extend the border of Texas to the Canadian border, and it'd be done the next day.
Yeah, probably. I agree with that. But like, okay, well, let's move to another.
Can we talk? Can we talk about this? Like, not defending.
I'm being a little tongue in cheek there, but Canada's disarmed their citizens. Like literally, the average Tennessee Boy Scout troop could probably take Canada.
Right? Yeah, no, but this is like a might makes right thing, right? In the sense, like, you know,
it's just might makes.
Right, I hear it say that, but again, like, I don't think it's right to go do that. Yeah, obviously we could, like, the American government, if we wanted to, could probably take over Canada. We absolutely could take over Greenland. I don't think we should.
Do it in like a couple of weeks. Very little
Careful, that's you're sounding like Vladimir Putin saying we could take Kiev in 2 weeks. Look how well that worked out for them. But let me say this: look. On the topic of like subsidizing these other countries, and it's like, yeah, obviously, I mean, I'm not a geopolitical expert, an international law expert. I am not just international relations expert, but I do know this, and everything I've ever read and everything I've ever learned tells me that what America does abroad every single time is for our interests. So we don't fund Ukraine because we're like, oh, that poor homeless guy on the corner, here's $100 because I'm just so altruistic. It's because it helps us, right? Like, we can give them, you can say, oh, we're giving them money, we're giving them resources, but in the end, like, it serves our political goals. And the same reason we went to Vietnam, same reason we did Iraq, same reason we did the Gulf War, all the soft power we do, all the hard power we do, any intervention is to serve American interests, and because we might be getting something back. So if we go
again, I think that's the idea, but I think it fails at that, and here's why. You can't point to an example where we've intervened, where it's had the outcome that we wanted. Well, it may have been the outcome we wanted, but it wasn't the outcome the average American wanted. And let's take you back to 1953. The CIA helps the UK topple the duly elected prime minister of Iran, installing the Shah, who becomes a fundamentalist, who then ushers in all of the what do they call them again? I'm having drawn a blank on their
the Ayatollahs.
Yeah, the Ayatollahs. Thank you. Who ushers in Sharia law and absolutely destroys that country. That country, if you look at pictures back from the early 1950s and late 40s, Iran, Iraq, they were beautiful countries, absolutely modern cities, modern women, modern dudes running around in suits. We've turned them into goat herders again. Now, why do we do that? Well, it was to serve our purposes of oil.
Yeah. No, so let me be clear. You're not going to get me, someone on the left, to defend a lot of the U.S. interventionism as like, oh, this is good. All I'm saying is it seems to be at odds with your ideology, because if you want a strong America, these sorts of things make us strong. We absolutely get it wrong, like in that example.
But it did.
Yeah, you're right. That example absolutely was a huge fuck up. And you can look at like any of the like, I don't know. Again, I'm going to bring up the Bosnian intervention. I mean, like, we have good relations with Albania and Kosovo. Obviously, Serbians aren't a big fan of the U.S. or NATO, but like, these were interventions that I think, one was, this America didn't really give a shit, but like, hey, we're stopping a genocide, so that's altruistic. But really, hey, now we have a country in this area that is not subservient to us, but sympathetic to us because we help them, remain sovereign.
Let's move to another point you brought up, Soy, which was you brought up. Okay, now I'm blanking. No, Panama. A lot of conservatives in my circle. Once again, I try to like openly say where I come from so that people can know, and I can feel like a semi-fair moderator. I will complain about how we're getting boned by Panama, right? Like we're paying $54,473. I might be a few $100s off per ton on average per ship, and then I think it's something like 60 to 70% of the shipping they get is American shipping. And we built this canal for them, and now they're just boning us. And it's if we took it over and reduced that cost, we would see instant impacts here at home. What do you say to people like those conservatives, soy, and then I'll let Grid respond in regards to something like the Panama Canal. Like this seems like something I'm a massive fan of. I think we've been getting fleeced by them, and I think Carter was it Jimmy? Yeah, Carter was almost nearly traitorous for giving it back to him in the manner he did. What are your opinions on it? And then I'll go
Well,
to Grid
so that last thing you said, I mean, it is true. We would save a lot of money if we took over the Panama Canal and stopped them from tolling each per ton, like all of the shipping we do through it. But this idea is, just because it's true doesn't mean we should. If we took over China and took over their solar panel factories, we would absolutely have cheaper solar manufacturing. But I don't think we should take over China. Panama's a sovereign nation. They have control of the Panama Canal. If we want to use some sort of like U.S. Power, whether that be soft power or some sort of trade negotiation to try to get a better deal, as Trump is the deal maker, supposedly maybe he could negotiate that toll down. I would be understandable of that if it made sense. But this idea that like, well, they're charging us for the service that they're allowing us to go through this Panama Canal, which they now have control over. So we should take over them because that'll give us cheaper goods. Like you could say this about anything, invading any sovereign nation. I just don't think we should be invading people to make our economy a slightly better. Huh?
That's not intellectually honest, is it? You're not being you know better than that, right?
I promise.
So? What is,
well, hold on. Let me. I want to clarify something. If you ever think I'm being intellectually dishonest, I promise you, I'm just stupid or misinformed. So
okay,
please.
All right. Fair enough. I have to ask because some people want to, they play games. So we built the Panama Canal at a great cost of lives, and money. We operated it. The terms that we gave it back to, or we didn't give it back to Panama. We sold it to Panama for like $1 or something. Jimmy Carter did that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad deal for us. I don't know why he did it. And I believe part of the terms were that they were going to allow our ships, since we built it, to pass through as they had been before. Which wasn't for free, but it was there was some like price there. I'd have to look it up, and I don't care enough.
Yeah, there's a 25-year contract under Carter.
Yeah. So I don't think that they've necessarily violated the terms, but they've unnecessarily taken it, or they're taking advantage of something that they were given basically for free. And I don't see. I'm on the fence on this because hey, we made a deal. It wasn't the best deal for us.
Mm-hmm.
Carter should have driven a harder bargain. I don't really know. I mean, that's back in the Jim Jones thing. There's a lot of weird stuff going on down in Panama in that area. Who knows what? Who knows what I don't know off the top of my head. But.
Well, let me ask you this. Really, if you tried to sell me one of those guns back there, let's say the one on the very bottom, you said, hey, I'm going to sell you this gun. And I said, I'll give you $10 for it. And you said, awesome, cool deal, right? $10. No, it's an amazing deal, right? All right. So then you walk away from this. And then 30 years later, you say, hold on, I just checked it out. This gun's worth $2,500. You scammed me. And now you are running off. You ran off with my money. I'm going to come into your house and take over your house and take my gun back. It's like, okay, maybe it was a bad deal, but it doesn't justify invading their country.
Yeah, right. And that's what I was saying. It was a deal. We made the deal. I guess the only thing I can agree with Trump on is if they're I've not looked into this. I'm not Googling right now. Like both my hands.
I am, by the way. So feel free to.
That's fine. I try and do everything. I try and do everything from my actual knowledge, and that way I may learn something.
I don't trust anyone, not even myself. So
at the end of the day, I think that the deal Carter made was partly political. Who knows? He made it wasn't a good deal maker anyway. Let's just be honest. And I think Trump wants to make it. I think he's tried to make a new deal. He doesn't think they're going to go for it. I think he's rattling his sword to see if he can pull them back to the table.
So you don't think he's being serious about threatening military force?
I can never tell if Trump is being serious about threatening military force. So far, what we've seen, just going on his record, is he rattles that saber a lot, and people come back to the table.
Well, the reason they do is because they take him seriously. Because they think, hey, the leader of the free world's threatening me with the strongest military in the world. I don't. It doesn't matter if he's joking because I'm going to take this as a serious threat. So, like, yeah.
Well, I gotta press back against that, Grid. He doesn't rattle the saber. Do you remember he turned General Salami into Salami? Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Soleimani got turned into Salami, bro. Like, I don't think he's afraid.
He was a bad guy, and he deserved it.
That's true. I agree. Do you remember Russia when they attacked the troops in Syria, and he told the troops, "Hey, do what you want," and they wiped out like what 50 or 500 or some outrageous amount of wagons. Listen, I could the same thing. He bombed Syria. Right? Yeah, if you want my analysis, and this is where I'm going to push back, this is why Trump is hard to negotiate with, because he is willing to play the chicken and be like, okay, I got a revolver, you got a revolver. I bet I have more bullets in my revolver by the time we're done than you do. And I think that's kind of why some of these countries take him so seriously, because they don't know. And this is actually a perfect segue into the next foreign policy topic, and then we'll move on to some other
Can I say one last thing, real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
I just think if you are not sure if your president is being serious about military action, which could involve thousands of people being killed in the conflict, and he's negotiating with countries who now will never take America seriously in deals, because even if we make a deal that we all agreed on,
are you seriously going to say that when Biden's literally sleepwalked through the last 4 years? Come on, man.
I am going to say, yeah, because no matter what, don't get me wrong, you're never going to get me defending Biden's, coherence. He clearly was a dementia-ridden old man, like sundowning on the debate stage. But regardless,
right?
Yes, I did vote for Joe Biden, but because regardless of that, with the policies that he passes, the bills that he passes, I still support. And like, if let me get this straight, if Joe Biden was literally Weekend at Bernie's corpse being puppeted around by a man with strings or something, so long as his cabinet was making the same kind of deals with these countries that they trust and know that they can continue to trust America, I'd still support it. So, yeah.
We'll come back to that for sure, because I definitely want to. We're going to go that. So, I mean, I guess where I wanted to go with our last foreign policy thing before we move on, because we covered tariffs, covered Greenland, we covered Panama, is I guess Mexico and the cartels. He's threatened military action. I don't see why he would be just bluffing. Like, well, so okay, you would love to see that. That would be interventionism, because you think he's actually going to conquer Mexico?
No, I don't think he will. But I really want to see him back. I want to see him back the Mexican government in their war against the cartels. I don't necessarily want us to.
Some would argue that the Mexican government is the cartel.
I mean,
parts of it are under cartel control, but I mean, I don't think the president is.
Sinaloa governor has notoriously been a cartel puppet for the last 50 years. I don't off and on.
Well, Grid, I can even make this argument for Grid. It's not interventionist, because from Trump's point of view, they're hurting us, right? They're illegal immigrants are coming across the border. You've got fentanyl coming across the border. It's harming Americans. That could be arguably self-defense and still be isolationist.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough.
I'm going to give you my angle on this. All right. I was annoyed when Obama did Fast and Furious and literally lied to Americans. And while they were taking guns from Americans, they were literally, you've ever heard the term sleepwalking? They were sleepwalking guns across the border, right under the nose of the ATF.
Could you elaborate on that with me? Because when you referred to Joe Biden, I knew what you meant by sleepwalking, but in terms of smuggling guns, I actually don't. So,
that means that the ATF knows it's happening, and they watch it, literally watch it happen, and they just ignore it.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're sleepwalking it across the board. Anyway, sorry, it's a term.
Well, wasn't the idea of doing this to track the guns and make sure that they can use them to find, it would be like us letting nuclear military materials fall into the hands of terrorists because we want to find out where the terrorists are. I'm not saying it's a good thing if they fuck up and now it's now these terrorists have nuclear weapons, but I think the idea was not, hey, let's just give the cartels guns because we love the cartels. It's, hey, let's put trackers on these or whatever.
Depends on which story you want to believe.
Well, why wouldn't you believe that?
The story that the first story we were given was that they were arming weaker cartels to fight larger cartels for everybody, right? So basically, they were promoting infighting. This is some CIA bullshit.
Okay.
To basically weaken the cartels and allow the Mexican army some chance of controlling the cartels. That was the idea.
Okay.
But that's the first thing we were told. when everyone called bullshit on it, because none of those guns were actually. I mean, the cartels weren't fighting each other; they were using those guns to actually shoot police officers. There was a famously an entire like police station jail somewhere in Mexico that was wiped out, like completely wiped out. There's a video of the cops. Like it literally looks like Afghanistan. These Mexican cops fighting the cartel members. It's hilarious. I mean,
Yeah,
not
sure. So,
hilarious.
100%, if you let these guns fall into cartel hands, just because you're tracking them doesn't mean they're not going to use them to do things that are really, really bad. And I don't know. I
Then they
haven't
said that they
studied
were
this, but like, I'm sure things that weren't good happened.
yeah.
But
They have no way of tracking them. Tracking them is irrelevant. They don't have any way of tracking. So then they
Well,
came up with the story that they were going to track them, but that was they never explained how or why or nobody. There were no serial numbers recorded or any of this other stuff. It was very interesting. It was just it was just the CIA doing CIA shit.
sure.
And so we've messed around down there so much that I would actually support not sending men across the border to fight the cartels, but certainly selling the Mexican government whatever to
well, hold on.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
just
wait.
talk about that. Hold on. I gotta fight this.
Well,
Hold on.
Gibbs, before you, I have a less contentious way of before you ask your contentious because I know you seem a little contentious about this, but this is just a really quick question for you, Grid.
Yeah,
Does
I got no problem.
is that completely at odds with your non-interventionalist thing, or is that
as long as
because
you pay cash.
as long as you pay
I'm
cash?
not saying we're giving it to them. We're not going to give it to them.
Well,
not-
see. This is kind of what I was trying to explain before. Is like, yeah, sure. We Ukraine. You could say that they're loans, or maybe they're never going to pay these back because we give them all this old equipment. But like, we're not doing it out of the goodness of our hearts. We're doing this because it helps us, right? So for every javelin missile we send to Ukraine, that's like one, maybe two Russian tank exploded that we don't have to blow up if we ever get into a conflict with Russia. In the same way, we would be giving money to the cartels.
I don't believe in the boogeyman.
Sure, you don't have to. I'm just saying, like that is the American justification for it.
I want to fight this fight real quick, Grid, because yeah. So, all right, what you're proposing has been done, and it backfired spectacularly, so bad that now, so when I was growing up, we had La M, right? La M was the main cartel, and they had a bunch of little small ones. Now we have the Zetas, and the Zetas were created by U.S. Special Forces that were Mexican military trained because Mexico surprisingly has a fucking good military, and they're very effective. They go. They're one of the countries that actually goes all over the world. And here's the thing: we trained these guys up, and then they broke away in mass, and now you know where these fuckers are? They're all along the southern border in Brownsville and Laredo, and they're killing people broadly in the streets all the time. And they just classify it as Texas gang violence, but it's the cartels, it's Zetas. And these guys are literally, some of them are even U.S. soldiers or former U.S. soldiers that are in there in this group. So whenever you're sitting here telling me the solution is send money to the Mexican government to fight this, or train them up, or don't send the troops.
No, I didn't say any of those things.
Well, yeah, but you did. You said, oh, we should either train them up or we should send, what did you say?
I said we can sell them weapons.
Oh, good. So we're selling the guys that we train better weapons.
Mexico, the actual army, not the cartels. I understand that in some places that's the same thing. I just
making sure.
I would support the Mexican government buying weapons, just like Poland. I support Poland buying. I love Poland. Poland buys so much shit from us. They pay cash. They are literally like they're literally like what Texas would be.
Yeah, Little Texas is what we call them.
Yeah, they're what Texas would be if there wasn't the NFA.
Well, Texas does have its own. Anyway, Texas has the only state I think that has its own military branches, but that's a whole different thing. Also, here's one. So I guess one more foreign policy topic. F-35 program, massive hits because now these countries don't want to buy them. Mm-hmm. What's your argument for that, Grid? Like, are you fan or not a fan? Because
I mean, we were selling. The whole purpose behind selling the F-35 is to fund the new fighter. I don't know that it really matters globally in our military spending, unfortunately. I think it should. I think, that there was a purpose behind doing what they said they were doing. They just haven't done it. I don't know. I don't have a strong
I have a semi-strong opinion on this. Just to say, and this is kind of what I was speaking about before, where I think Portugal was the first country I read about that's doing this. But people, are pulling out of buying American military equipment because they say we can't trust you anymore. You're not a reliable trade partner, and this is hurting America, right? Like when countries lose faith in us, like in the same way these same countries are now issuing travel warnings because of non-citizens or permanent residents being snatched up. Like it's hurting our global power with these countries. It's hurting our ability to have free trade. It's hurting our ability to sell things because no one trusts us. No one thinks we're going to hold up our deals. No one trusts, where no one knows where our allegiances lie. It's kind of hurting everything that would otherwise have made America the hegemonic power. And it's very confusing to me.
You have allegiance with Portugal?
Well, yeah, 100%. They're our ally, yes.
How are they an ally?
Because there are, I don't know what you're asking. They're our ally, like in the same way that any other country that aligns with our geopolitical goals. I don't know. I'm sure we do trade with them. They probably send us some sort of products. Well, we send money to NATO and NATO defends Portugal.
Well,
how many troops do they send us?
What makes an ally?
Yeah, what makes an ally? That's what I want to know.
You're like, would you consider Albania our ally or not an ally because Albania doesn't send us troops? Like, they're our ally because we have the same interests, and we, I'm sure, I think, probably just like many other small countries after 9/11, they sent us like a goat in a cart or something. But like, if they don't have the capacity to send us a shit ton of money,
word. It has some serious ramifications. The word ally.
Okay, well, what's your definition of ally?
I'm allied with Gibbs. His fight is my fight.
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
I'll say this: if someone were to attack Portugal, America would go and defend them, and if someone were to attack America, Portugal would go and defend them.
Has any country ever come to our defense?
Yeah, Canada and Britain. When we invoked the NATO, was it Article 5 during the Iraq War? That's where they went and fought for us.
France, Saratoga.
France as well.
Saratoga, yeah.
Well, I guess if we're going far that back, but I'm talking about in the recent times, yeah. But yeah, countries absolutely come to our aid. The only thing is, we are so powerful that often we do not need it, but sometimes we ask for it occasionally. So.
So, all right, moving on to, I guess, our next, I guess maybe it's semi-international. Immigration seems to have been fixed overnight by the Trump administration.
Sorry, guys.
Y'all all knew that if we're on a Gibbs stream and we're talking about Trump's 100 days, we're going to be talking about immigration here to some point. He's got another phone call. What are your thoughts about the immigration so far, Soy Pill?
I think a lot of people are reactionary in the sense of you get a Democrat and you're like, oh, like any and all, enforcement of the border is terrible. And I just want to come out because I know you have a primarily right-wing audience. So yeah, obviously we need some sort of strong border, but the problem is the way that is being enforced, I think it's cruel. I think it's inefficient. I think the amount of money we're spending to deport people is not working. And if you look at like the actual policy goal, which is a mass deportation of 11 million plus people, it just doesn't make any sense in comparison to doing a Reagan, which is giving amnesty, trying to get these people in the tax system and actually making money for the American people. And especially a thing that really bothers me right now is the plainclothes, Gestapo ICE style raids where they're just pulling up in a van and throwing students into the back of a truck. I think that's insane. It's scary. It's probably a violation of free speech. At the very least, it should concern you if you're, who are they going to come for next? These people aren't doing, violent crime. The allegations against them are, without charges, and it's, I don't think it's a very good job.
I really would like to get in on this, but unfortunately, my wife has been delayed, so I have to go pick my son up at daycare.
Oh man!
All right. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for we got a spirited hour in here.
Well, thanks for joining. It was nice to meet you, Good.
Yeah, I was. I really want to keep going with this, but I can't.
This is all your idea. No, I'm just kidding.
I know it was, but I thought my wife was picking up my kid. I'm sorry.
Hey, Democrats will support stronger subsidies for childcare, so I just want to throw that out there. You would get to stay with a Democrat president right now. So
no, I still have to go pick them up.
Now school buses, more school buses.
It was fun. Soy Pill, you were a much better faith than I thought, and for an off the cuff, you did very well. I don't think I did very well. I'm kind of scatterbrained today, but that's okay.
No worries. I appreciate the talk, and if you want to talk longer in the future, let me know.
Yeah, and Soy, I hope you. We're not always this disorganized over in Papa Gibbs land.
That's what you said yesterday.
Listen, listen, we're filling things in. This was his fault this time, and Dylan's before that. But we over here, we making things happen.
Hey, I'm all. If I say I'm going to be there, I'll be there. Unfortunately, this time I do have to bow out. You guys have a great rest of your day, and
You as well.
I will. I'll catch you guys later. Sorry, Gibbs, man. I'm sorry. That was totally unplanned, man. Sorry, and totally unprofessional.
Hey, things happen.
Totally.
You're just
Yeah,
lucky.
you're all
Yeah,
good.
I'm just lucky I don't have children to go pick up because I would have abandoned them for this debate and CPS would have been called.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't. See you guys.
Toodaloo.
Well, so I guess we can end on that note. Tell us what your thoughts are. I'm sure we'll get another one here soon. I once again appreciate you filling in last minute.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking me. I
on this
appreciate it.
impromptu
Hey,
one.
look, I have more viewers on this impromptu debate I announced 3 minutes before the stream than I did yesterday for the double stream. I'm happy to entertain people. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for asking me. Yeah, I think Trump has been a colossal failure. I think he's like as bad as everyone said he would be back in 2016. And I think 2016 and for those first 4 years, it wasn't as bad as everyone said it was going to be. Everyone said it was going to be World War III. They're going to be nukes going off. He's going to destroy America. And I said, this is hyperbole. And it didn't happen. And I said, oh, look at all these crazy liberals. They're just exaggerating too much. Now I think they were proven 100% correct. He just needed a little more time, a little more focus. And he is absolutely doing everything they said he was going to do. He's restricting free speech. He is doing interventionalist, crazy imperialist crap. And it's scaring the fuck out of me. I think anyone who really cares about America should be worried about this because we are ruining America's power. I think it's weird that these isolationists are so pro-patriotic, but so not pro-America having the reach and extent and power that it used to have, what made us so strong. I, if anything, would be against a lot of these, CIA coups and stuff that we do. But it's strange to me that these people that would otherwise be pro this seem to be anti this just because Trump says it. Anyway, I'm very worried about the future of our country, but I think the Christian nationalists are happy. So, more power to them. Not, knock on wood. I don't want them to, but I'm really scared. I think we should be fighting back. So thanks for watching. If you like my opinions, go watch my streams, go watch my video essays, and type 1 to end the deep state.
Check it out. I posted his YouTube and pinned it here. Y'all go check it out. Soy Pill on YouTube. Good stuff. And once again, like I said, thanks for filling in last minute. And filling in last minute yesterday for 2 streams. We need more lefties that don't run. That's always good.
I charge head first without looking. All right, so
that's the right way to do it. But I appreciate it. I'll let you go here. You get your nap in now. And
no, now you got me up. I'm streaming now. But thank you very much.
Hey, there you go. Y'all be good. All right, thank you.
Have a good night. Bye. Give me a sec, guys. Got to switch to my other camera. How's it going, guys? Thanks for joining Impromptu. 254 of you guys. You're so awesome. Give me a second here. Andrew Mercado, if you don't know who he is, a cool streamer guy, former MAGA, reached out to me. I'm going to let him know that my stream ended early and I can come on whenever. Going to the restroom. And I just want you guys all to know, what was I doing on this busy day other than writing a script for you guys and making cool new videos? I was at Lululemon buying a great new pair of sweatpants, and you'll see them when I get up to go to the restroom. But this time, you fucking sick pervs, I'm muting my mic. Welcome, Kai, for being the first time in the chat. Now, I'm going to read some super chats, and then I'm going to join Andrew Mercado. He has replied. I'll say be there in a second. But thank you guys so much for the super chats and the member groaning. Let me look at this. Bea, is this from today? Yes, it was. Okay, well, let me scroll down all the way to make sure. Fred Skull became a member. I know you, Fred Skull. Thank you for becoming a member. Bea, thank you for the 10 R. Is that like rubles? What is R? Regardless, thank you very much. MAGA people saying the left Gen Z can't handle darker, heavy humor, as if BoJack Horseman, Rick and Morty, Vivis Pop stuff, and South Park didn't exist and weren't popular. Maybe MAGA is just bad at it. MAGA can be good at dark humor, but I think that, if anything, all of the best dark comedy shows are written by left-wing people, and they're much, much better. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. JP super chatted $2. No, wrong. JP, I think you might have been responding to what I was saying about the Bosnian genocide. If you have a strong take on that, and maybe I am uninformed, my primary reading on this is just, like Wikipedia, a couple other articles. I have a old friend that was Albanian, lived in Kosovo for a while. That's why I went there, and that's where I learned. So it is also a biased take. I've heard Serbian people push back on the takes that I've had. Obviously, I think they would have some gripes with the American government. Albert Hunley, oh my God, man, you're just fueling my entire lifestyle. Thank you, Albert. $10 says, I guess it could set the precedent that no deals are final. I hear that France wants to revisit the Louisiana Purchase. I'm sure that Native American tribes probably have some issues with our past deals. Yeah, they want their beads back, or they're going to trade us the beads back. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just to recap that whole debate, if you're going in there and you're like going back on deals and saying we're going to invade you because you're screwing us over, this is ridiculous. And these people like want America to be not trusted anymore. They want us to never have any soft power. Our hard power is going to not matter when every country doesn't trust us and they all gang up. It's scary and ridiculous. So Albert Hunley, again, thank you so much. $5. I've been sent to other countries to support American imperialism. Have you heard any of them? Or have any of them? I don't know if any of those people are veterans. Gibbs might be. Shri, hi Shri, super chatted $2. Super chat, bottom text. Jake and Bake says super chatted $5. Thank you. Piss politics, man, mutes the piss mic. Many such cases. Guys, for those of you who don't know, piss politics, which actually came up, me and JJ were talking about it today, is when you refuse to move on from a question in the same way you force your dog's face into the piss, just to rub their fucking face in the question. So when JD Vance says, oh, maybe Greenland will join us because of blah, blah, no, rub his fucking face in that question. Are you talking about annexing Greenland? Are you going to use military power to annex Greenland? Answer the fucking question. It's ridiculous. GK, thank you for the $10. A lot of furries watch you. Cool. Am I known in the furry community? That's interesting. People give furries a bad rap. If anything, I think of all the crazy degenerate kinks that I have seen in Pride, and I'm not saying this to shame them, this is the one place they get to do it out in public, which is on the Folsom Street Fair. Furries are really the least offensive. You just look like a Disney character. There's people that play in each other's pee and eat poop and stuff, and it's hey, I'm not trying to kink shame you for it. I just don't want to look at that. That's why I don't go to the Folsom Street Fair. But furries, you go to a furry convention, there's just a bunch of people in cool suits, even kids can look at that and be like, oh, that's a cute suit, right? Obviously, they don't know the implication, thank God, but that's fine. It's fine. Pisco, yes or no? I like Pisco. He was in a debate with me. He's a cool dude. You go to Pride, gay soy. I'm not gay. I'm at best bi-curious, but I support my LGBT community, all right? Let's see, $2 from Connor Mason. Hi, Connor. I have a family going to the U.S. Safety travel tips. Depends on how brown you are. So if you're brown in any capacity, don't go into the southern states. But if you're going to a major city, especially in California, Oregon, any of that, and I'm joking a little bit about the brown thing, obviously, but unironically, if you have some sort of anti-Trump rhetoric on social media, it might be a little scary. I know there are people that are being questioned, having their phones confiscated through immigration because they're talking shit about Trump. So just be wary of what you've posted. Don't bring drugs here. But yeah, it's not that hard to not get arrested here. JP again. Oh, you were referring to I'm sad that you had to spend $2 to say this to me, but no, you were saying wrong about the Iran and the Shah. I am not. I know vaguely about Iranian history, so I'm sorry I couldn't push back on that one, guys. But I know we deposed the government in the 50s and it didn't really work out for us. But I'm sure he's misinformed based on everything else he said. So. Bill Jefferson, you finally made it. I thought you were doing a bit where you would just never go to a stream and then comment that you would never be in a stream. All right, guys, I'm going to try to connect to Andrew Mercado's Google Meet. Ask to join, allow here, let me switch back to live scene. And we are going to, how do I do this? Pop this out. Add a source, window capture. Let's do Andrew Mercado Discord. No. Chrome. Where's the Chrome tab? There we are. Okay. Make that a little bigger for you guys. Soypill live stream the sequel. Exactly. Yeah, Google. Yeah, I'm not the Zoomer. I mean, I am technically, I think, the Zoomer, but use microphone and camera. Allow while using the site. Let's see if this works. Camera failed. Give us a sec, guys. Oh, I know. I have to disable it here. Deactivate. Activate. Try again. There we are. Drag this here. Drag that there. Oh, man. Guys, how do I fix dark circles under my eyes? I went to Sephora. They gave me a vitamin C cream, but man, do I look tired. All right. Ask him to join. I have the soy mind virus. I will die. Don't die. Sleep? I'm trying. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people in here. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I'll be right back.
I love that name, Renegade Chungus. I didn't know it was a whole panel. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to be a little panel. I had one a little
look at this!
earlier.
I'm doxing myself live. I didn't know I was using my real name.
I know. That's why you should change that before I go live. We're not live yet.
Well, I'm live, so everyone on my stream knows my full name now.
Oof.
But it's not a big deal. I mean, it'll come out eventually.
I mean, they're your diehards anyway. They deserve to know who you are.
Yeah,
Before
but I'll
you get a
change it.
million
I'll
subs.
change it for now. Oof! How do I change it actually?
You're gonna have to leave the call and then switch over your Google account or change your Google account name to Soypill.
I'm gonna do that. I'll be right back. Oh, now you all have my other email too. Oh no! Everyone, close your eyes.
One of the reasons I switched out of Meet is because it's too easy to inadvertently dox someone.
Yeah.
Look, I'll say this, doxing is doxing. I got into this business. As soon as I started blowing up, I could have went and deleted a lot of things on Reddit accounts and all this stuff, and I said, fuck it. I said, I'm an open book. You can do whatever you want. Now, if my parents get swatted and have 100 pizzas sent to them, they'll be a little upset, but I hope that I don't make enemies that badly, so...
Yeah, someone's going to get me fired from a job I hate. Okay.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna get my stream started. Soypill, you're still streaming, so shout out to your viewers. I'm gonna mute you guys, but you can talk in the background if you don't want to just sit in silence on your stream.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna get my fired up.
Can I get?
Yeah, you can talk.
Can I just introduce, like, yeah, hi, I'm clearly you know my full name now, but you can call me Niels, you can call me Soy. Who could you guys like? Canty, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Renegade. Nice to meet you. In time, who are you guys? I do YouTube stuff. I do YouTube videos.
I guess I start off as I just supported Ukraine. Decided I was going to go there, whether people told me I should or not. Tell me I can't do something, and well, can't I? And just went to Kyiv, and people said, "Oh, you should stream while you're there. You should stream while you're there." And here I am a year later, still streaming.
Cool. And you're there right now? You're in Ukraine?
No, I'm in South Dakota right now.
Oh, gotcha. You're the one person there.
No, there's another.
Is it at least two? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow, I guess I'm leading this introduction. Chungus, who are you? What do you do?
Me, I'm just a guy that has a computer setup. I got some friends in the city. Started fundraising for them. That was about it. Other than that, I'm just a normal dude.
Is Muga is make Ukraine great again?
Yeah, Muga.
Nice. Cool.
Muga hat. Yeah, just a normal dude that cares a lot. I make a lot of shit posting videos, meme sommelier, if you will.
I could tell by the name.
Yeah.
And in time, you look like you're about to tell me why the country is burning, like the harbinger of America's doom.
Yeah, that's 90% of our content. You got it.
Sick.
It's my name is Nick, and everyone just calls me Nick. And In Time is a educational program, and we do lots of interviews, and we cover the news, and try to also sort fact from fiction in mainstream media where they get it wrong. And we covered the invasion of Ukraine live. We were actually ahead of we were ahead of everybody. We a lot of what we do is just right off of social media. So we have researchers like going through social media for Ukraine. They're like, wait, somebody posted a 7-mile long column of troops going from Crimea up to the main area of Ukraine. And we're like, we think the main invasion's just begun, but we weren't sure yet. So we actually checked, and it turns out Google traffic works in Crimea. So yeah, there's the 7 long. So we went live with it, and we had on former naval commander on with us, and he just covered it, and we covered the show. So that's the kind of thing we do, and cover Trump, of course, and all the other lunacy that's going on in the world. We've had a banner year.
So what I'm getting from this is everyone on this panel is cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I started my YouTube channel just to fundraise for my friends that were fighting, my friends' friends that were fighting over there.
Do you have a link to your fundraiser? I'll throw it in my chat right now.
Yeah, actually, yes, we do.
Yeah, throw it in the chat here. I'll post it in the description.
Canty, can you throw it? My new computer doesn't have it yet.
The Cars for Ukraine one?
Yeah, me and Canty have the same donor box. What was I doing? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. Really nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey man, I enjoy your content. I was watching your debate the other day. It was really nice.
Oh hell yeah, thank you.
I heard about it. I heard good things.
I didn't know what people talked about me, but that's cool. Yeah, it's guys, chat. Hey chat. I feel so weird saying hey chat. Chat. Go to that fundraiser, and if no one does, I'll be the first to do it at the end of the stream.
Yeah, we're hanging with the big dogs. Canty's got like 300 something subs. I got like 800 something subs, and we're up against people with like 800,000 or 250,000 subs, and we're in 4th place. So we have been grinding this.
The fundraiser. Oh hell yeah! No, we're underdog. This is the underdog story. Really, would it really be fair if the Ukraine fundraiser was won by the the obvious choice? No, it needs to be the underdog, like Ukraine.
Yeah, so that's us. We are the underdogs, and we're killing it.
Yeah, although I didn't like the number we're stuck at right now.
Well, here, let me open this up right here.
4,069.
Let's see. I'm gonna donate right now. Goal of the campaign: 11,000 euros is one. Is this what do you get? One pickup?
Yeah, it's an armored vehicle. Like it has 5mm armor inside of it. They're ready to go to the front line. Ooh. Usually the Toyota Helixes. Sometimes they're the Mitsubishi model. They
almost got me here, right? They permanently check. They receive newsletter updates. No spam for me. But hold on, guys. I'm going to turn off the Windows source here just in case my credit card information gets on screen.
And don't forget, you can change the name so it posts on the wall, not your real name, but your stream name.
That's fine. They already know my full name now. But let's do this. Sorry, guys. I will put the thing back up. Let me find my pants. Pants have a wallet in them somewhere.
Yeah, I think we've all done streams in our Zoom shorts.
Oh yeah, mine are little sunflowers with smiley faces on them. They're great.
I move too much and I forget. I have made it a rule I will never do that because I like to get up and I move and I can't and I will forget. And all I need is one of. I love caffeine, so I just said I'm done with it. And I started drinking Mountain Dew from the 2-liter bottle. I just and at one point I thought the camera was off. It wasn't. And Neil 604 has a great shot of me just going glug, glug, right from a 2-liter bottle. And as I was like, okay, that's it. I will always wear pants during the stream.
Awesome.
Nah, screw that. I'm doing the sunflower shorts if I can. I want to be comfy.
All right. Donation made. Thank you for raising awareness.
Thank you for supporting Ukraine.
Of course.
Yes, I always like to promote my dried grapes fundraiser where I'm raising awareness.
Dried like raisins? Oh,
raising awareness.
Oh God.
I'm out. I'm gone. I'm out of.
That was the first one I had to do. This stream can't. It goes nowhere but south from here.
Oh, you got me. You got me with the dad joke, man.
Yep.
Well, guys, yeah. In the meantime, I guess Andrew's setting up, but So is this panel we're just talking Ukraine, or I know I'm obviously it's not going to be a circle jerk. Are we talking like what's going on right now, how we can help, the current state of things moving forward, Trump's policies and how those might affect things? Like what's the overall?
I don't think we have a designated.
My understanding is it's a chill stream, so we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. I am most well versed and capable to talk about all the topics you just mentioned, which are also all the topics nobody wants to talk about on a chill stream.
Yeah, well, we'll only ever get mad at like a person who's not here, right? So we can all just kind of like yell into the void and hype each other up. So
yeah, that's it. It's like whatever your angle is on it, whatever whatever you can add to it, pretty much, I'd imagine. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I just got finished with the debate with a guy who's called himself isolationist, didn't want to support Ukraine, but then also supported the invasion of Panama to take their canal back. It was this like really weird, like incoherent positions, and then he left an hour early because he had to go pick up his kid. So yeah, and now I'm here.
Checks out.
He's an isolationist.
Yeah, well, he said anti-interventionalist and then not really isolationist because he also said he's pro-free trade. So I'm like, that's not isolationist. He questioned whether or not Portugal was our ally, even though they're a founding member of NATO. It was a very, very strange man with a mishmash of very incoherent ideas. But he was nice. He was a nice guy. So yeah, he's a pro. Yeah, my chat said it best. He's a pro-war, free trade isolationist.
Oh, God.
The whole point of free trade is to avoid war.
I'm already dealing with the one that's on my comments. He's like, "What are we gonna do? A stream and have a debate?" I'm like, "Really, dude?" He's like, "I haven't slept in 3 days." I'm like, "Well, come back after you got some sleep because I'm gonna shred
my
you."
voice up over here on the panel. Okay, all right. I think the fellas can hear me.
Back.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna unmute them in a second, and then we are going to get started. So let me switch over. There's the panel screen. Let me deact. It's like 18 different things to do. Deactivate the camera, and then I'm over here. Bang.
There he is.
And then I got to unmute.
We're the only ones, me and you, Nick, who don't have Ukraine flags. We look kind of left behind here.
All right. Yeah. What happened? You got?
Well, no. I do have a Ukraine flag, but I can't show you because if I stand up, you'll see it. But on the other hand, you'll be demonetized.
Really?
So he has a tattoo. Okay.
Admit.
I see. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, everybody, for joining our panel today. How you doing? Welcome to tonight's stream. We're doing something special, something that's close to the heart of a lot of us here. This is a chill panel. We're more of a chill, relax. I'm not going to ask the panelists like hard-hitting geopolitical questions, maybe to Nick and Soy Pill. But we'll see where we're going. This is going to be just kind of a what do you got?
I was saying Nick's probably way smarter than me. I can just repeat things I read. Like
nice,
Same.
nice. Okay, cool. So, but we're going to be talking about Ukraine and reasons why we support Ukraine, etc. We're all coming together to support Cars for Ukraine, which is a grassroots initiative delivering real vehicles to Ukrainian defenders on the front lines. I also have a video I'm going to play for the panel and everybody shortly. This isn't some big corporate fundraiser. It's just us, real people showing up to help in real ways. Whether you got a platform, you just care deeply, tonight is about pushing this fundraiser across the finish line before Easter. Every single dollar helps save lives. The link to donate is pinned in the chat and down in the description of my stream. Even $5, $10, $1, 50 cents, whatever you got. It makes a difference. We've all seen it. Now let's do something powerful tonight. Let's have some great conversations. And we're going to start off with some introductions. And I'm just going to go in the order I see you guys in my panel here. Let's go around and let folks introduce themselves. Say your name, your YouTube channel, your handle, or just if you don't have a YouTube channel, it's what it is. How you got involved with either NAFO or or just YouTube and supporting Ukraine, or if whatever you got, and anything you want people to know about you. Okay, just keep it short as you can. Let's start with Canty.
Well, it started out that I wanted to go to the Ukrainian Rus medieval empire and visit the castles. And as I was planning my trip, Russia invaded Ukraine.
So they ruined your vacation. So you're pro Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
God damn it. No, it's just so supported Ukraine, learned more about it because honestly, I knew a hell of a lot more about medieval history of the area than recent history. So learning the recent histories and everything else, and everybody's saying, "Oh, you can't go to Ukraine. You can't go to Ukraine." And like, part of my name is, "Oh, can't I?" So I went. Everybody said, "Oh, you should stream. You should stream." Okay, I'll stream. And now here I am a year later, still streaming, still trying to raise awareness and keep the sport going.
Incredible. And thank you so much for your efforts, Canty. Let's go with Renegade Chungus.
Most of you guys already know me, Renegade Chungus YouTube. I'm just out here trying to fundraise for Ukraine any way I can. Teamed up right now with Kantai Ludin, who I've probably mispronounced his name 30, 40, 50 times, I don't know, a day, because I call him Canty. I'm going to continue.
It's Kantai. It's Kantai.
It is Kantai?
Wow. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
No,
So I've been
Canty's fine.
Canty it is. But yeah, just, started with... got some friends in the city, need a fundraiser done, one or two, and it was really rough at first. It's been smoothing out now, and I'm absolutely hooked on doing it, to the point to where I end up just absolutely crashing because I'm out of energy from doing it. I don't know if you guys were on my stream the other day. You saw what went down with some Polish pickles and 80 proof prune juice. Okay, so whatever it takes. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop fundraising. I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm in love with helping. It's a life commitment. After the war, when it does end, there's still going to be 700 years of cleaning up mines and people needing help. So this is a lifetime commitment. That's why I'm here.
Thank you so much, Renegade Chungus. Let's go with Nick from the In Time Show.
My name is Nick Suter. I am the host of In Time, one of several hosts of In Time. We're an educational program. We do news, we cover politics, culture, and try to give sort of a deeper insight into what's going on in the world around you. As to Ukraine, we were, we had covered everything from Obama and the catastrophe with how he sort of dealt with Syria, but also that, of course, Crimea was taken and everyone was like, can Putin do that? I guess we're agreed Putin can do that. Okay, great. And when the invasion began, the main invasion, 2022, we sort of sat and as a group said that, look, there's a lot of suffering that we cover in the world, and we're independent. We don't actually do fundraisers. I'll go and be on a fundraiser. I will support people if I can, but as a channel, we don't do fundraisers. Mm-hmm. We try to stay completely independent. But this was something where we said he's not going to stop at Ukraine, and it affects everybody. There's it is a world crisis. Russia is I strongly believe Trump is the first president ever installed by a foreign power. So anyone who underestimates what Russia is willing to do, what they're capable of doing, does so at their own peril. And as a news channel, we have decided that Ukraine has to be one of the things that we most engage on and cover for those reasons.
Of course. So let's go with Brett, the Baba Yaga fella.
My name's Brett. I'm 46 years old. I don't have any YouTube channels. I'm a fan of most of you guys. I started with Mercado. I'm a fella. I just got on X to follow more, to get more news updates. I don't know anybody in Ukraine. I don't have any Ukrainian friends with family there. I've been following the war since the invasion, since the full-scale invasion, and they just grabbed my heart, and it's, supporting them is the right thing to do. And I'm ex-military, ex-Air Force, and I used to be ignorant to politics, and now I'm full-blown into it because I see what the power that the United States did have in the world powers, but we're quickly destroying that on the global scale right now. So just trying to do my part and support Ukraine. I was just started as a fellow fighting disinformation, misinformation, and pushing fundraisers on X. Then I've always hated Trump. I've been on to him for decades, since he took out that 3-page ad in the biggest newspapers, and when he came back from Russia, attacking NATO when he was a civilian, before he got into politics. So I just see where this is going, and I'm going to do everything in my power to fight it and not let it happen here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brett, and everything that you're doing to support. And let's go with the soy pill, special guest, last minute.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm the Soy Pill. I make progressive YouTube video essays. I stream occasionally. I've got a background in aerospace and nothing politics related. But yeah, no, I saw what was happening in Ukraine. It was pretty obviously a bad thing. And then I saw the Republicans lose their mind over it and start supporting Russia for some reason. And so I'm trying to push back against that the best way I can. I'm not an expert, but I think there's some pretty easy common sense arguments. And real quick, Kantai, I can totally sympathize with your, wanting to be against them because they ruined your vacation. My great grandpa was once cock-blocked by the Japanese. He took his girlfriend at the time out on a date and was going to bring her home when their parents weren't home, but lo and behold they were. And he said, "Why are you guys here?" And they said, "Well, did you see that Japan just attacked Pearl Harbor? We thought we had to come home to be safe." So it's a tale's old as time. Sometimes these little things cause you to fight. So
it took me a second too. I finally figured it out. It's Kantai.
Yep,
oh,
it is Kantai.
Kantai. That's your story. You can't go.
Oh, it just hit you now.
Kantai. Yeah, it just hit me now. Yeah, because
Kantai, watch me.
Yeah,
watch me work.
How many times has he told that story? And just now I figured out that's why he pronounces it. Well, there you go.
Exactly. Well, to the panel and everybody, this is why we're here today. Also in the background, we're pushing a truck fundraiser. This helps Ukrainian soldiers get to and from the front lines. They don't have all the equipment that the U.S. military has, like Kazovac vehicles, which means like medical ambulances, basically, that are up armored. Ukraine doesn't have a lot of those, if any, and a lot of units do not have the bare minimums. But we're trying to fundraise for an entire truck. It's 220,000 euro. All of our channels and everybody, we have our own responsibility. Ukraine Matters and myself are doing well. You got Renegade Chungus on there and Kantai, who are part of the panel today. We also got the Baba Yaga fella.
Whoa. I got credit when my audience donates. How do I do this?
You have credits?
How do I get my numbers up? I want to be number one.
You want to be on this?
Yeah.
All right, I'll hook you up with Claire after stream.
Afterwards, but on my stream, It's fine. I already donated myself. That's why you gave me the link, because I'm part of your numbers now. Okay, no, we're using his link. It's fine. I don't need to win. We'll just all donate through Kantai.
Everyone donate through Kantai.
My family. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm so competitive. I'm not even going to tell you guys how competitive I am. I want to win. Okay.
they're trying to win this, which is cool. It's all going towards the one pot, so you can be as competitive as you want. You know what I mean? It's no one loses here. All right. Only Ukraine wins, which is amazing. All right. One more thing I got to show you guys, and this was requested from Ivan, and then we're going to get into our topics. Okay. And this is like what the trucks are. And I think it's our last fundraiser we did with some of the YouTubers. So we can just check this out.
Which is a live stream and recommended.
Can you guys hear this? Did you guys all hear that? Cool.
Slava Ukraini! Amazing convoy today with 7 vehicles. A lot of foreigners have come to Lviv today to Car for Ukraine to bring some cars, to donate them, to bring the ones that we purchased. But as normally every week, another nice convoy is heading to the front line, and I'm gonna tell you a bit about each one of them because there is quite a lot. So let's go to the first one. Ukraine Matters, Life is the Greatest Value. With Georgie, 25 vehicles we managed to raise funds for, and today there are 3 that are coming.
He did that by himself.
Ukraine Matters.
It's
this
crazy.
one,
with his channel.
11, is going to the Unmanned Systems Forces. The last one for them. And we'll be doing some very, very, very deep strike. And also everyone who donated to this campaign, we created a donor wall, like a physical donor wall where people can find their name who contributed to this particular car. Next one, number 13, number 12, somewhere there. Also from Georgie. This one is going to the 3rd Assault Brigade. on the east in a very, very hot spot on the front line. Also, as you can see, armored on the back over here. So we keep our soldiers safe and sound. This one we didn't armor because a little bit more specific tasks. The BMW, you remember our story about a
That's
tank?
sick.
So this is the 7th vehicle from that squad. A gentleman in Czech Republic wanted to buy a tank, but he passed away, and his priest, his community didn't let him down. They kept some of the money and bought 7 vehicles, and 4 more actually will be coming to Ukraine later next month. Going to Dnipro region. Ford Ranger. This beautiful Simon and Ashley, they brought this car here a month ago. It's an amazing story. They brought this car a month ago here. We were going to send it to the front line, but they came again, and this time they brought a few more cars, and coincidentally, this one is ready. It had some issues on the side and everywhere, but what we managed, we put some armor to the side, so guys also feel safe and sound when they yeah, looks safer. Yeah, with love from Wales. I guess Ashley is from Wales, right? Yeah, so this one will be going to Dnipro, Zaporizhia region, and the guys will head off today. Next one. Also, Ukraine Matters, Life is the Greatest Value campaign, number 12. Also, everyone who contributed is here. Massive thanks to Georgi and his community. This one is going to the east as well. Very special one, guys. Easter Pisanki. You know, the Easter hasn't come yet, but we cannot wait until Easter comes to bring cars to the front line. So the first one, it's a group.
Oh, they already have our truck ready.
Shared victory.
This is our current fundraiser right now. I pause it. They already have one of our trucks there then already. This is the one we're doing right now. Pretty cool.
Amazing squad of great informational warriors who are fighting for the truth everywhere in the world. And the first one for the Seraphims.
Я старший лейтенант Сергій Костинський, командир ударної роти Серафима. І я звертаюся до команди Car for Ukraine, Бандера Мобіль, а також до партнерів від ком'юніті на YouTube, мережі X, в Інстаграмі, включаючи ATP Geopolitics, Eric Sikamimus, Word Translated,
So from 2012, very good, reliable, solid vehicle is going to the Seraphims so they can start implementing important things over there. Massive thanks to everyone who is supporting this campaign. It's ongoing, so you can join now. But we still have last but not least, Ukraine ADOPS, together with this wonderful group. They were going to raise funds for 3 cars. In fact, they managed to raise funds for 4 cars, and this one is going to the 24th.
Бажаю здоров'я. Ми друга мінометна батарея 1-го механізованого батальйону 24-ї окремої механізованої бригади.
Operating also in the hot spots on the front line, which is why we have to install additional armor everywhere on the front and the back. Also, as you can see on the grills. So if the shrapnel hits from the front, it's sort of fine. Yeah. So folks, it's really tough job to prepare all those convoys, to keep track of them, not to lose any car anywhere. Easter Pisanki is an ongoing campaign. Go to carforukraine.com, support this campaign, follow any of those great influencers, YouTubers. Together to our shared victory. Slava Ukraini, Heroes Slava.
So then they go to the front lines.
I also think it's worth noting that these trucks are worked on in Lviv. So not only are you getting a truck to the soldiers, you're giving Ukrainians a job. And
yeah, they're working in like a truck bay, basically.
Keeping the economy spinning over there too.
I have a quick question, and this is not to disincentivize anyone from donating, but in the same way, some plumber from America saw, you know, like a ISIS, you know, guy driving his like plumbing truck like 10 years after the fact. Is it possible that Russia maybe captures one of these and suddenly I'm on some YouTuber, you know, hit list or something because they're like, they see my face or my full name on there and they're like, the soy pill is donated to our you know, enemies, you know, like.
They take the sticker off, so that's like a sticker they put on, and then when the soldiers actually get it and then go to the front, they pull the stickers off of that. It's just kind of like for the marketing of like the fundraiser, you know, for the people
that
donated.
flash that's not very camouflage for the
yeah. So they take all that off when the soldiers actually.
Well, I put my name in as Elon Musk just in case. So.
Yes.
I'm not a military expert either, but my understanding is that it's really hard to capture one of those vehicles from donkey back. So when you're riding a donkey trying to catch up with one of those, it presents technical problems that I'm not an expert in, but makes it unlikely that they're going to capture one.
You're not wrong.
Well, I've seen the videos. They stopped using the donkeys and they're using the little kid scooters now.
Oh, is it a tricycle?
Yeah, I saw that too.
With the Dukes of Hazzard one.
Before we get into it, one more. We had Rudy join us. So Rudy, go ahead and introduce yourself to the panel and your handle or your YouTube channel.
You're muted.
You're muted, buddy. All good.
Now is it on?
Stuff. There you go. Yep. We hear you loud and clear.
All right. Yeah. No. My channel is Rudy's Reaction. Usually content on Ukraine and occasionally politics here in the U.S. That's probably cranking up a little bit more because of how much this country is turning into shit right now. So, but yeah, nice to meet all you guys and glad to be here.
Of course, Rudy. All right, so we're just gonna have some open-ended questions. You guys can answer whenever you're comfortable, and anyone that I don't feel is, you know, if you're not able to answer, I'll make sure to specifically call on you so you can give your take. So why are you still supporting Ukraine today, right? We're over 2 years into the full-scale invasion. People are still showing up every day, still supporting in any way you can. We had an example like Soy Pill, you know, who's seeing it from more of an analytic point of view, like this is the right thing to do. With others more, you know, like Can't I, who's pulled away from a vacation, you know, or like me, who I was literally streaming Madden, and my YouTube channel was like, hey, Russia just invaded Ukraine. And I was like, okay, I better pause Madden and go see what's happening. And now here we are. What keeps you going and why is it still important to you? All right. Anyone, in any order?
Well, for me, it's, you know, America's word used to mean something. We gave Ukraine our word twice that we would support and defend their borders with the Budapest memorandum. They gave up their nukes. Russia, UK, and the US all said we'll protect your and respect your borders and give you aid. We said we would. We should be doing what we say.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Anyone
Well,
else
if our
have anything to
government can't, I will.
Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm not.
We'll go Brett, and then we'll go Brett, then in time.
Sorry.
Very good.
Yeah, I just I feel like it'd be disrespectful to get tired when there's soldiers out there, you know, doing the real work and putting their lives on the line for this. And they're not just fighting for their country. I feel like they're fighting for freedom and democracy worldwide, not just in Ukraine. So I feel like it's our fight too. And they're the ones that are putting their lives and their families, you know, hearts and emotions on the line. And I'm not going to get tired of it. It's not like my mind's going to change just because a couple of years have gone by. Everybody was expecting this thing to end in 3 days or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And we're still here and we're not going anywhere.
Nick?
It's never too late to do the right thing, and it doesn't matter how much time has passed, and it doesn't matter if you haven't started. It's never too late to start doing the right thing. And the United States, I think, has, for the most part, been a pretty decent force for good in the world up until recently. And we would not exist if it weren't for the French saying, you know, they want to be independent, let's get involved. And because we had no naval power, the French used theirs to blockade and help keep British reinforcements from arriving. So without the French, you know, And how many times did someone say that, becoming our own country was a bad idea and we couldn't possibly make it, and here we are. I don't know what the future holds. I don't, and I'm worried about the future in Ukraine, the future here. I know one thing: if I stop, other people stop, and it ripples. If I keep going, maybe I can get a couple of other people going, and I don't need to get 1,000 other people going. Just every time I go on a stream, 1 or 2 more people going, and that's how these things are done.
Absolutely. Anyone have any other insight?
I mean, I can't see myself ever not supporting. This is the most clear-cut, black and white, good versus evil war that we've ever seen in our lifetimes. We probably will ever see in our lifetimes. I'm surprised that all the people that I grew up with, that all the MAGA cucks, are just completely ignoring the fact that this is the biggest land invasion in our lifetime since World War II. Like, we all grew up watching Red Dawn. It's like they forgot, right? And plus, I grew up in a Finnish household. I grew up hearing how the Russian mafia had already infiltrated our government from my grandma, and that was 30 years ago. So this has been going on for a long time. What happened? We took the Cold War. We said we won because the Berlin Wall came down. We took the pat on the back. We didn't do anything to support any democracy internationally in Russia or anywhere else. And we just turned a blind eye to it and said we won. But they didn't stop fighting. And now we have years, decades to catch up to figure out the amount of damage they've done to our country.
Absolutely. Nick, you have something?
No, well said. He's right. It was the pat on the back, and then we're just like, we won, we walked away, and that's why he nailed it.
Yeah.
So, Pill, what do you think?
Yeah. Wait, okay. My thing wasn't lighting up. Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much the same as what everyone else has said. I mean, this is very clearly like a dictatorship trying to invade a country that is, was promised that they wouldn't get invaded by said dictatorship. It's baffling to me watching the same people that, like you said, watched Red Dawn, were super anti-Russia through the Cold War, flip on a dime because of the MAGA cult. It's insane. It's disgusting. It's one of the most, clear-cut and dry, this shouldn't be happening. We should do everything in our power to stop it, is in our best interests thing that has happened in quite a while. And I agree with what Nick said too. If even 1 or 2 of the people watching my chat goes and donates, that'll be a win for me. And I'm at least one of them. So guys, go and donate and try to help support a good cause.
Absolutely. What do you think, Rudy?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's definitely the right thing to do. It was after seeing, all the damage that Russia's doing, the lives they're destroying, kids are taking. It's a really easy decision for me. It was a really easy decision for me to want to get involved in. I mean, it is absolutely the right thing to do. Ukraine needs all the help that they could get. They are fighting, somebody a lot bigger, a bully. And, like I said, my support for them will be to the end. So.
Oh, yeah. Brett, do you have any thoughts?
I think I already gave him my thought.
Oh, did you go? Did I? I'm sorry. You must have. Sorry, I already had a panel earlier, and now I'm trying to keep it all together. Oh, hello. Yeah, it's for me. It's just morally correct. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I wasn't there on the ground, literally watching the Russians cross the border, but we were watching live feeds of it happen, all over YouTube. Ukraine had the cameras up on the light poles or whatever, and we're literally watching them enter. I wasn't watching it through mainstream media, or like a corporate media was not telling me what was happening in Ukraine. We were literally watching it. So very important to me. It's just wrong. And that's why what drives me. And plus just the misinformation too of the current events. I think it all kind of ties in together. Like, I've covered many stories now, but I feel like a lot of the takes are pulled from similar strings that can connect sometimes. So let's talk about Cars for Ukraine and the fundraiser we're doing. A lot of you guys have been attached for this, and Soy Pills, thank you so much for pushing it onto your channel too. Let's talk about the mission we're backing tonight. They're not just raising money, they're delivering actual vehicles to units on the front lines, pickups, SUVs, 4x4s that are literally saving lives. What do you think this kind of support matters so much? Or like, what do you think, or even grassroots efforts, like of other things, even not just trucks, anything?
Well, I can tell a first-hand experience. The last truck that I fundraised for my friend on Rowan in the 151st, literally, it was like time was of the essence. He got the truck. They put an M2 Browning 50 cal mount on the back of it. They took it out to the front line. The next day, it was like a 232 drone strike. Like that made drones came into their area of operation, and they were doing counter drone defense. They were doing drone defense with this thing. Like it's a matter of life and death. The quicker these things get to the front line, the quicker they're used. They don't just sit there in the woods and not do anything. These guys are using them. They're saving lives with it, innocent lives. These drones aren't just like attacking soldiers. They're killing women and children. You can literally have an immediate impact to save someone's life if you get one of these trucks to the front line. So the quicker we do this, the better.
Agreed.
Yeah, just to chime in on why it's important for the grassroots thing is because, I mean, we've all seen what's gone on with military aid being held up by Congress for the 6-7 months, whatever it was, how many lives that costs, how much territory that costs. And while that was going on, I kept putting out like that's why private donations are important now more than ever, and especially now with Donald Trump in there. I mean, we've seen no aid's been moving since he's been there. No new aid has been coming. We've just got the presidential drawdown. And I've always said that if we need to win this with private donations, then so be it.
Anyone else have thoughts? Nick?
Winston Churchill won the Nobel Prize in Literature, which is something that most people don't know. He suffered from depression too. We wrote a lot about that. The Black Dog Institute in Australia is after a piece he wrote about the black dog, the depression, darkness in the corner that would come at him. So this was this hugely remarkable man, this orator who governed his country through World War II. And I truly think that the comparisons of Zelensky because you see Zelensky, who is just doing an incredible job with his own people, with the military, and with foreign countries. And when I watched him play Donald Trump, and he absolutely played Donald Trump, and I didn't think he could do it, because in order to play Donald Trump, you got to have a little darkness in you, because he's a bully, and he still came in with that, and he was massaging the ego, and I'm sitting there going, is there anything this man can't do? Yes, there's one thing that he has a problem with, and that's conveying the level of difficulty. He is so competent. You sit there and say, Ukraine's got everything they need. They've got Zelensky. So you look at Zelensky, and it gives you this false impression that military's always been there. That they're fully established and they've been ready since day one. No, every one of them out of the gate has been going like hell, and they have to keep going at that rate. So it's the donations that got them as far as it has, and it's donations from countries, and it's donations from individuals. And the number of people from other countries who go to fight in this war. It's like you don't have to. And I know you've met Viper. He can't go back to his country because he has now fought in a foreign war. He can't go home. And he said he's going to do it anyway. And the reality is Ukraine cannot do this alone. They can't. And they've been honest about it. They've asked for that help. And that the importance of organizations like this cannot be overestimated, because Ukraine started with nothing. They started with nothing. And they have built what they've got, and they need to keep building, because Russia will not stop. One of those countries has to end. One of them is going to be. This is going to continue until one of them's done.
Let's hope it's Russia.
Let's go, can't I?
Just to add on to Nick's comments, there is, when this invasion started, Ukraine had a sitting army of 20 to 30,000 people. And they were trying to hold back what was already happening in Donetsk and in Crimea. One of the biggest complaints I see, or comments by the trolls, is, well, why doesn't Ukrainian
guys be
government pay
nice
for
to
this?
each other, okay?
Ukraine has gone from 20 to 30,000 soldiers to 850,000 or so soldiers. You cannot expand like that and supply everything they need. There's going to be gaps, there's going to be holes, and if we can even plug one of them, maybe we're playing the little Dutch boy putting our finger in the dike, but get enough fingers.
And I'll point out it's a little hard to run your economy when a foreign country comes in and takes Crimea and then says, "Okay, yeah, I mean, they've been defending themselves in one way or another for a very long time. There's a reason they can't afford it."
And I don't want anyone to get it. Sorry, I don't want anyone to get it twisted out there that like after the full-scale invasion, they had to turn people away that were volunteering to come fight. So it's not like the people's heart weren't there. It definitely was.
Can I ask this is coming from an uninformed person. I'm assuming everyone here is as in comparison a Ukraine expert. If Andrew, can I ask a question?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. My question is because you mentioned like, oh, one of them has to win. Like ideally, like best case scenario for Ukraine, what does that look like? Because I'm assuming obviously it's not Ukraine completely, wiping Russia off the map or something crazy like that. Like what is it? Russia declaring, oh crap, like it's not worth it anymore. They pull out. Is it a settlement of the current borders, which I think would be a loss for Ukraine? Like what is the best case scenario for Ukraine realistically, given the support that they have?
Realistically, it's gonna, for me, and then anybody else can answer, it's gonna have to be increased support from Europe in terms of like troops on the ground. You asked for best case, so I'm giving you best case. So European support for troops on the ground in Ukraine, and then also NATO, guaranteed NATO ascension, which they have already promised, and they were supposed to be a part of it. But NATO is, and to me, is the only actual security guarantee that will give Ukraine like something. Okay, like we'll agree to a ceasefire, not try to. And this is just my opinion. Others might have others. Not try to go and continue to liberate territory. We have to stop the defending. We'll stop defending ourselves, but only if they have real security guarantees. And for me, that is NATO membership. We've already tried everything. The charitable answer, I guess, or like the one L I'd have to take, if not NATO membership, has to be European troops then. Like if not NATO, then European troops. And again, that's best case scenario for me. All right, panel, anyone else have a take?
Yeah, the complete economic collapse of Russia would really help if the people were absolutely feeling this, because they've had a honeypot to feed off this war. They haven't really felt it to the extent that they need to. And right now, under the current administration, the ruble has actually improved. They were on the verge of complete economic collapse, and now they're starting to recover. That whole thing needs to turn around. And unfortunately, we have an administration who loves dictatorships, loves Putin, and is completely head over heels in him. I don't know if he could suck him off any harder. And right now he's doing nothing but helping their economy and helping the people. Like we were on track to destroy that nation economically, and we were like a year away, and now it's turning around. Like I don't think they can do another year of this full-scale invasion without saying, guys, we need to eat and things are going bad. We need to stand up for ourselves.
Absolutely.
One of the most aggravating things with this Trump administration is the fact that they claim that they're a peace. They're all about peace and everything, but they are prolonging this conflict just by their actions and bringing Russia back into the fold with the world. I mean, they are completely. This administration is just completely hypocrites. Everything they claim to be about is the total opposite of what they actually are doing.
Brett. You did, buddy.
Yes. I don't know if any of you guys watch or follow Constantine Inside Russia, but just because the ruble's going up does not mean their economy is not doing well. And it's still doing. What you got to pay attention to is the layoffs. Their wooden forest industry is terrible. The coal mining industry is terrible. Their manpower, their labor issues is in the toilet. So it's not just because the ruble is up. That's not actually a good sign. It's actually, according to him, it's a bad sign.
Of course. Johnny, JP, thank you for joining us. Quick intro, and then I actually want your and Nick's take, especially on Soypil's question here.
Yeah, I don't know that I can stay for long, but I was just listening to this while I was firing up World of Tanks just for a bit of relaxation. I've been spending a million hours today on this, but I couldn't resist. So I was like, right, I've got to come in. So the economy is honestly, I think, really key. And what's really frustrating is that the US, the incoming administration could have, I think, put the final nails in the coffin of Russia with relative ease. And they, instead of, the foot was on the neck of the Russian economy and they took it off. They're talking about, relieving sanctions or doing that by not enforcing sanctions and not working with the working groups in Europe, and et cetera, et cetera. Just a few things to throw in, random things. I was literally writing a message to someone on this earlier. Sovereign wealth fund is being cleared out pretty much. Foreign reserves are almost gone. Gazprom is screwed. Construction industry is screwed due to mortgage and interest rates being screwed, leading to purchasing power being throttled in retail and restaurants. The car and truck industry is screwed, with truck sales down 46% year on year in February. Rate of insolvencies has gone and bankruptcies has gone through the roof. There's a huge labor shortage leading to inflation. As of yesterday, industrial enterprises are complaining of a shortage of working capital and are demanding preferential loans to avoid bankruptcies. The balance on treasury accounts has collapsed from 12 million rubles to trillion rubles to 5 trillion rubles in 3 months. The reason is the growth of military spending and a fall in income, leading to a budget deficit, etc., etc., etc. Russian bank head Nabiullina was complaining back in November, saying they might even have to freeze Russian personal bank accounts, etc., etc. So, if we could keep hammering the shadow fleet, it's about secondary sanctions. So the US Treasury has been incredibly important. Under Biden, they were doing this work that people just didn't sing the praises of enough, going around screwing the Russian economy. And you've had today another tankers in India that's not being able to set to moor in a port in India because of secondary sanctions. That's the important stuff, like stopping China and Russia doing business with China and India doing business with Russia and having the tankers sitting out there doing nothing and not gaining money. That's how Russia gets screwed, and then Europe has to pile in and help. And NATO is the cheapest way to like Andrew was saying, the cheapest way. Literally, if you want to save money on helping Ukraine, let them join NATO. That's it. It's that simple. It's not difficult either. We don't have to give anything or spend anything particularly. You just say you're in NATO now. We're changing the rules slightly. Bish bash bosh. No one has to spend anything. Now, if you do anything else, Russia will fuck you over. And etc. etc.
Nick,
sorry.
They have Gallup.
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead, Brett.
They have galloping inflation right now, and it's heading towards hyperinflation.
Interesting, Nick.
Yeah.
So,
what happened?
In the worst case, and why it's the worst case. Putin has made it clear repeatedly that Ukraine does not exist. There is no Ukraine. That land is all Russian. So his only acceptable goal is to take all of Ukraine and wipe it off the map. He has shown this. He has put up maps where you can see, if you look here and read, it says Russia, not Ukraine. And it's always been this way. It's like out of 1984. It's like we've always been Eurasia. And so that's his goal. Unfortunately, that is also the goal of a number of the people closest to him that are most likely to replace him if he should fall out an open window. So, and some of them, their concerns are that he's been too kid gloves with this. He should be deploying chemical weapons or tactical nuclear weapons. And so if he just dies, that doesn't solve the problem necessarily. There are a few who might just say, okay, we're out, we're done. But most of the people most likely to replace him are going to want to wipe Ukraine off the map. So if that's in fact their goal, and they won't stop until they've done that. Either Ukraine gets wiped out or Russia gets wiped out. The only effective way to the NATO has a couple of problems right now. The U.S. is opposed to NATO membership, and we're one of 3 countries opposed to it. And when they're an ally, this was even before Trump. So there are significant problems, not the least of which is there is contested territory, which people falsely say it's in the charter that they can't join. It's not in the charter that they can't join, but for the most, they can't join as long as there's contested territory. So until they win, they can't join NATO anyway. So the only way to do it is economically. This has actually been done before. Ronald Reagan, I do not like the guy, but he implemented the plan that took out the Soviet Union. This was done by inventing Star Wars, which was never going to work. But it caused them to overdevelop their intercontinental ballistic missiles to overcome a shield we didn't have and could never make. Afghanistan. We deliberately poured resources into Afghanistan, so they had to, because we figured out we could overproduce them and they would collapse. That's what happened in 1991 to 92. When they collapsed, all of these people, Ukraine, all these other break apart republics became their own independent states. And again, we patted ourselves on the back. Putin has openly declared that was the worst tragedy in the history of humankind, and he wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. This is the third country he's attacked in 5 years. So this is part of a much larger plan. What has to happen is the same thing, and that we were doing it. We were this close. Jonathan got it absolutely correct, which is the idea is if we sanction the living daylights out of them, one of two things happen. Either their economy completely collapses. There's already in Russia sort of satellite districts and provinces that would like to become their own country anyway. So if they collapse again, Russia will still exist, but it'll become even smaller, even less powerful, just like the original collapse of the Soviet Union. That has been what we've been attempting to do. We got about this close to it, and then Trump is like, I'm lifting the sanctions. And it's like, do you understand how many people have died and how many people have worked on just trying to get, and again, one of the things is when you take a look at how much Russia spent in Afghanistan, they've spent 10 times more than that in Ukraine, and they didn't have a good economy in the first place. So either Russia will collapse, it'll kind of rebuild and there'll still be a Russia, but it'll be a new thing, or Ukraine will get wiped off. So that's it. There's only two outcomes to this, because Russia will not stop until Ukraine is done. So either we end Russia or Ukraine.
But so that leaves a third outcome, which is so there are only two, but there is actually an excluded middle there, which is actually this goes on with Russia trying to achieve the kind of complete wiping out of Ukraine, and the Ukraine
like an attrition,
holding
Johnny?
them off, and it's just like an endless attrition. And then maybe people get bored, maybe they don't, or whatever. But you can see that not endless, nothing lasts forever, but you know, another 5 to 6, 3, I don't know how many years.
Prolonged longer than anyone would like to.
The reason we when they first invaded Crimea, we did not sanction Putin, but we sanctioned all the oligarchs. And the reason was because we wanted them to get pissed enough at him that one of them takes out a knife and stabs him. They're all assassins. They're all killers. They're all perfectly willing to do it. It didn't work. Okay, fine. We're still hoping that Putin gets replaced. If it turns into a war of attrition, does Ukraine last long enough that Putin gets off and gets replaced by someone who says, we could probably win if we kept going, but screw this. I want to make money, and I'm losing money so long as this war is continuing. And we're happy to make it about money for them. It's just leave Ukraine alone, just evacuate, leave, and we can help make you rich. But, you know, so that's the deal we put on the table. Putin has said no. There are people below him who might say yes.
Interesting.
Hey, Merc, I got to jump in real quick. Someone in your chat just said if I do a pickle shot right now, they're going to donate $100. I'll be right back.
Nice.
Like a shot of pickle juice? Is that what that means?
I don't know what that means. We're going to find out soon, though. So thank you guys for answering Soy Bill's question. Any news or updates that stood out this week to you? All right, let's pivot. Has anything stood out to you in the news from Ukraine lately? Something serious, hopeful, or even meme-worthy? Anything?
Meme worthy, I got something for you.
Sure.
We're sitting here fundraising for trucks and other fundraisers for generators and drones, and Russians are fundraising for body bags.
Is that real?
Yeah.
I did see something like that.
Brett, go ahead.
I have a question from my chat.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll go Brett, then Soy Pill's question. We got you.
I just thought of when Zelensky's quote of Putin's going to die soon. It just made me think of it. I know he's got health issues, but it almost makes you think, like, do they have a plan in works or something? Does he have something in works? It just made me think about something like maybe Budanov's got some plan going or something.
Yeah, possibly. Soy Pill, what do you got?
Yeah, Albert Hunley in my chat asks, thank you for the $2. Are there any outside forces funding Russia? I mean, in the same way, like, I know they have resources from North Korea, I know Belarus, but like in the same way that we or other people fund Ukraine, where are they getting their help from?
Johnny Pierce?
The thing I'm quite upbeat about is lots of things. Military aid to Ukraine, I think, will be all right. Like, Europe's coming together. France has just given a load. There's going to be a new Ramstein. They're going to announce another bunch of stuff. But actually, there's a lot of investment going into the Ukrainian defense industry, and they've really ramped up their production. And also, they're producing more significant things, like, for example, their own kind of MRAPs and like mine-resistant ambush protection vehicles and infantry mobility vehicles and stuff like that. And their Bogdanas, their self-propelled howitzers, they're producing significantly more than 18 a month now. So I don't know what the exact number is, but they're looking to get to 40 a month. Now, that is way beyond replacement rates. And they're also making a towed version of that as well, which we've already seen on the front or seen evidence of. So this is all really good news for, like, in the absence of other nations or the US giving a load of stuff to Ukraine. Like, one of the key, and they've known this for a long time, is making sure that Ukraine can do this themselves, so that if people do pull out, like, all they need is then money, which is maybe easier than equipment. So yeah, I'm quite upbeat about where they're at, and we keep hearing stuff about missiles and drones, like long range attack drones. The scale doesn't seem to be quite there. There are lots of claims about scale, but I'd like to see just massive attacks into Russia. But then you've got this energy infrastructure moratorium. So anyway, I'm quite upbeat about certain aspects of where Ukraine are militarily, and there's a couple of new weapons as well that have been touted in the last few days too. So
sorry, Jonathan. I don't know. Maybe you have insight, or maybe Nick does. But someone had asked in my chat, are there larger outside forces funding Russia? I know North Korea is part of that. By the way, all of that's very good to hear that Ukraine is getting the assistance it needs without us. By the way, because I have not been optimistic about America's outlook on this, as many of us said. But yeah, like who is helping Russia on this side, and can there anything be done about that sanction wise?
Well, so big question. So no one's funding them, I don't think, but North Korea helping. At one stage recently, it was thought that 50% of their artillery ammunition was North Korean. They've given 220 self-propelled howitzers and multiple launch rocket systems, and 12,000 troops, with another 3,000 supposedly just given as well. So it's 15,000. That is really significant. I get really annoyed when people dismiss North Korean troops as just cannon fodder and it's easy for the Ukrainians to take out. No, all of those people will attrit Ukrainian soldiers and materiel, and they are a massive challenge. So I think the North Korean addition could be a game changer if Russia are able to draw on like 100,000 of them. But then we don't know what they're paying North Korea for, and there are all the theories, everything's been mentioned: space tech, plane tech, nuclear tech, energy, grain, food, everything. Yeah, all of the above and more. But they are helping. China is helping. So I don't know if you know that in the last month, I keep tabs every day. I give the general staff figures about what losses have taken place in the day before, and what the stats are for interceptions on drones that come in. And the Russians have really upped the drone manufacturing of their Shahid drones. And they were getting relatively recently 90 to 95% interception rates, and sometimes 100% interception rates on virtually every day. And now that's dropped to maybe 80% interception rates. And every night at the moment, you're getting 20, 25 drones get through and potentially hit their target. Now that is really significant. If you have that every night, multiply that by 30, that's a massive, massive difference. And the reason is, well, so there are tactics involved. So they've done this swarm of individual places, which is what I suggested they do, but I wouldn't want to give them good ideas. About 1.5 years ago, I don't know why they spread their drones out. They each need to go for one place and absolutely overwhelm it. They're doing that, but they also have chips on their drones that are coming from China that allow them to focus on their and not get interfered with by electronic warfare, and so they're getting around Ukrainian electronic warfare. That is significant. So that help from China, and obviously the help from North Korea, is really significant. Iran slightly less so now. They're now building their own drones rather than getting them from Iran. But I think just the US doing dipshit stuff that helps and inadvertently, and that's really frustrating as well. So I think it is significant, but not crazy. I mean, the challenge for the Ukrainians is boots on the ground. They're getting, I think, maybe enough equipment, maybe enough ammunition. They just need lots more people, and Russia has a lot of that, but actually even they seem to be struggling big time. So the question is, how many reserves do Russia have, like, kicking around some of these places, and can they amass them in certain areas? Sorry,
absolutely.
No. That was a great answer. And I want to say, because Andrew, you asked about memeable moments. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Like Trump said, like, they just told me that they're getting drones from Iran, and like as if which is 3 years old news or whatever. So that was great. But yeah, thank you so much for the answer.
Do you mind if I say something to that? Sorry, I know I've done a lot of talking, but
we'll do you, then Nick, and then Chungus. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's really important, because like about 2 years ago, we're saying like one of the best things to be able to do would be to link, for the MAGA Republicans who were at the time like going slightly pro-Russian, we're saying if we link Russia to North Korea and to Iran, they can't but say Russia are the bad guys. Like, because no one thinks that North Korea are the good guys. No one in the GOP thinks that Iran are the good guys. So if you link Russia, then that's really cool. And that kind of worked a bit, but then whatever. And now you've got Trump saying that, like, as if he said the words were something like, yeah, we're looking into that, like we're getting reports on that. It's like, fucking hell, they've been using shades for 2 years, you dimwit. And what's frustrating is this shows, and I could give you a massive rant on how fundamentally ignorant Donald Trump is to any depth on any given subject in governance, right? Like, and I keep saying this, I said it 3 times today, give me a speech that Donald Trump has made in the last 10 years that gives you any indication, like a 2, 5, 10-minute speech, that he has granular knowledge and any great detail. He only ever talks in vague veneer, right? Honestly, it's so important. He does not understand enough about anything. And Ukraine is a great example, and that incident on the Shahed drones should make people go, oh, for fuck's sake, is this really where we're at? Like, sorry to swear, but like, honestly, are you serious, mate? Like, you don't know jack about what's going on. Rant over.
Jonathan, all I can say, Jonathan, is you're telling me this for the first time. I didn't know that.
Nick, and then Chungus. We'll go Nick.
The 2 biggest financial backers and supporters of Russia are China and the European Union, which is unfortunately not well understood by a lot of people, and is something that Biden tried to deal with and had some success with. Why China? Well, what China has done is they're aware that there are exceptions, humanitarian exceptions to all of the sanctions for obvious reasons. China was already getting oil from Russia. What they have done, and they have sufficient oil as it is. Once the war got where it looked like, so about a year ago, I think it was, they tripled their oil requests from Russia. This is not because they need more oil. They're just storing the stuff or trying to resell it on the market. This is a way to launder money to Russia. So they are paying Russia for oil they do not need. This is the principal source. Russia is getting 210 roughly billion euros a year from China for that oil. Another 21 billion is coming from Europe, who is buying that oil under the exceptions for humanitarian aid. Germany, I think, is now off that list. But one of the problems was Germany gets really, really cold. And if they stopped buying that oil, you were going to have a lot of deaths due to the cold weather. So they have managed to, I think they restarted one of their nuclear power plants, and Europe is trying to get off of that oil. But right now they're on it. So Europe themselves, while trying to help Ukraine, is actually funding Russia. They do know it. Some countries have taken it more seriously than others, and Biden was working his tail off, get all of them to sit there and say, we will not buy any oil under any circumstances from Russia. But it does end up being a humanitarian problem. Russia saw this coming and started to change their economy into resources that we couldn't easily cut off for that reason, and it's been successful. So their two biggest economic supporters are China and the European Union.
Absolutely.
Which the US has a lot of say in. Well, they've got a horse in the race, because not oil, but gas. As Europe's trying to wean themselves off dependency on Russian gas, they've looked to the United States, who now the biggest exporter of liquefied natural gas, which means you don't have to put it in pipelines. You can put it on a ship, turn it into liquid form, and get it to Europe. But then you've got this bizarre situation where some of Trump's lackeys, some of his business mates, have gone over to Russia, and now they're trying to start up Nord Stream 2 pipeline again. And you're like, what are you doing? If you start up Nord Stream 2 pipeline, then you're not going to need American liquefied natural gas. I don't understand why Trump is allowed, because obviously someone's going to make a lot of money out of it, but from the US point of view as a whole, that will actually hurt the US. So it's just, yeah, but anyway, I thought I'd throw that in.
Absolutely. Chungus.
Yeah, in regards to Donald Trump not knowing about the Shahed drones, I call bullshit. I think he did know. I think he wants to bomb the shit out of Iran, and right now he has a fleet of B-2 Spirit bombers in the Indian Ocean with 3 C-17 cargo planes and at least 10 aerial refueling tankers ready to bomb the shit out of him. I think he's looking for a reason to do it. I think he wants to go into Iran. I think this is part of his whole game plan. He's already cut Soleimani on 2 on his freaking balcony. Why not? Or yeah, I think that was his name, Soleimani. I get that right? Yeah. So why not? I mean, he already knows, you know, half of MAGA can't stand, well, all of MAGA can't stand Iran. Half of the independents can't stand Iran. This would be the perfect time for him to exploit it and go in and take over. This is a pickle shot. I had to cut it in 2 because that Polish pickle has been in movies. That is like picklehub.com. So this is a pickle shot. And this is totally not 80 proof Cornitos. And I'm totally not just gonna.
Oh, the pickle too, huh? Nice, incredible.
For Ukraine, we'll do anything.
Absolutely.
For the 104th.
Yeah, I ate surstrumming for Ukraine.
That was $100. Anybody wants to see it again?
$100 to the fundraiser. You promised them. You promised.
No more, please.
Chungus won't be on the stream for very long.
Yeah, he'll be.
I'm a bit of a statist, so I'm watching him and I'm watching his face, and I'm like, I really think I think Ukraine needs the help, folks. That's all I'm saying.
I hope there's a bullet casing with someone's etched in pickle shot on it. Like they paid for that specific bullet casing.
On Chungus's comments on Iran, I would think, like, I come from Republican world too, obviously, and Republicans have wanted to bomb the shit out of Iran like since its existence. Like, I can remember that as a kid. Like, they're, please God, before I die, just let me bomb Iran. And
what's the John McCain song? He's always bomb Iran.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't know that because I kind of agree. I like the idea of what Renegade is saying there, but because he said this about 4 times in the last few days, where he's had a difficult question, and the Signal Gate was a great one. Like, you can guarantee that his chief of staff would have been in the Oval Office as soon as Signal Gate was on the radar, right? And yet he was at a presser, and they said to him, "Do you know blah 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 blah?" And he's like, "I've not heard that before." And he did that with the 4 American soldiers in Lithuania. He did dying, and then he did it on 2 other, something like 4 occasions in the last few days, where he has not known something that he clearly should have known. Now, I think those ones were lies, which is like, it's a difficult question, and it's a way of sort of deflecting and not being able to deal with the issues so robustly. But with the Shahed one, that doesn't quite makes sense. So I genuinely just think imagine you're Donald Trump and you're playing golf and you're doing this and you're spending all your time campaigning on X, Y, and Z. Like, would you actually know that that Russia are actually using Iranian drones? Like, I can imagine that would be it's obvious to us. We spend 12 hours a day in this war, right? Mm-hmm. Donald Trump doesn't, right? And he doesn't read. So he doesn't read. He doesn't get intelligence briefings or doesn't read or
well, they're in crayon, but yes.
Yeah, with picture. Got some pictures.
But think of the practicality. So therefore, where would he pick up the information that Russia are using Iranian drones? And yeah, he could have done watching Fox News, but I can imagine a situation where it really hasn't factored in.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with both of you. I will say this. The one thing in Jonathan's favor is, when was the last time Trump needed an excuse to threaten to bomb, Greenland or Canada? Or, I mean, so if it's Iran, he doesn't. But I actually do I think Chungus, that's a really good observation. Because
let's go. Brett Baba Yaga has a thought.
Yeah, I posted about when that clip came out that he didn't know, and he's like, you have to look at the reports on it. I posted that. I'm like, little old me that has known that there's 3 years worth of reporting on this, and I know that there's Texas Instruments components in the fucking Shahheads. So he just looks
meme sheep. What the fuck?
I don't know if he knows how incredibly stupid he looks, but you would think that that'd be something kind of important to a narcissist.
Very true. Rudy or Canti, do you guys have thoughts?
Go for it, Canti.
I don't know. Maybe he's suffering from short-term memory loss.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's charitable.
All right. Well, let me throw in another scenario there. I'll throw in another one. What if he asks somebody for a reason to bomb Iran? What do we have in Iran? Why do we want to attack them? Give me reasons to go in. And they said, well, they're making Shahed drones for the Russians that are bombing Ukraine. I mean, what if he needed a reason and someone briefed him on it recently that knows, one of his cabinet members, one of his special envoys that he barely listens to? I mean, it could have been something simple as that.
I thought that sounds really plausible. That actually he didn't know, and then someone's just told him. Well, yeah, because we know that 7 stealth bombers have found their way to Diego Garcia Islands, haven't they? So it looks like, and they're not going to be doing freaking training missions.
Oh yeah, no, that's not. No,
that's not happening. So I think, and then Iran weirdly released that video. I don't know if you've seen it, but Iran released a video of these underground tunnels with all their bombs and all their missiles in, all this kit, and they're driving through these like proper underground, like James Bond type stuff. Fascinating video. Why would they release that like then, just now? Weird.
Very
I think
interesting.
They're expecting it.
And there's two carrier strike groups in the Mideast now.
Very interesting to keep up on. That's been one of the things I've tried to pull some of my more MAGA viewers in, is like, Iran has been a participant in this war. Like, you hate Iran, I get it, but like, then you should probably help Ukraine because they're fighting the Iranian, or a lot of people that support Israel, right? We had our jets in the sky over Jordan fighting Iranian drones. There's no way these Republicans have no idea about the Iranian drones, right? Because we literally were shooting them down with the United Kingdom. Well, was it last year or 2 years? It was last year.
Last year.
Yeah, it was last year. So the Iranian Shahed drones is I think they're just playing games, and like Chungus said, it's like they're going to use it as a pretext to start war on Iran. Like, oh, guess what? And then that might whip a lot of people into supporting the attack on Iran, because then they'll say, well, this will weaken Russia's efforts with drones. But then I don't know why Trump and the administration never addressed Russia as a direct problem. We did hear it in the Intelligence Committee briefing, the testimony in the House and the Senate. Tulsi Gabbard and the CIA director and FBI director Kash Patel all said that Russia is a threat. That is a global threat. They all had to come out and say it. We watched the whole thing on stream. But they'll say that in the actual testimony, but then they'll go on media or wherever else and just not even include Russia into the conversation. It's just China bad, and Iran, we got to go to war with them. I don't understand.
But even with China bad, like Trump's then saying, "Oh, I might relieve sanctions on China if we get a nice TikTok deal," which would be Elon Musk coming along and sweeping that bad boy up, or a similar kind of. It's just.
Well, I want to touch on that though, like what Jonathan brought up. I guess what everyone's brought up, Andrew. But you know, like one of my big channel things, if you guys don't know me, is I try to like reach out to Trump supporters and be like, "Hey, like here's my reasonable take, and I'm trying not to be crazy about this, but shouldn't this piss you off?" And I think that, like, I have yet to hear like the Democrats really hammering in this Iran angle on this, and I think the anti-Ukraine sentiment from Trump could absolutely be countered by the hate boner that Republicans already have for Iran. If we show, hey, look, you think Iran's bad, well, you know, they're funding, you know, these terrorist groups, right? You hate that. Don't you hate that they are funding the enemies of Ukraine? They're funding Russia. Shouldn't that tell you who is the good guy in this situation? Exactly. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to come. That's
what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying I'm curious, like how we can leverage that factoid, because I always knew that Iran was helping them. I knew North Korea. I knew that China was helping them, but knowing that this, like, I don't want to say like axis of evil, but you know, like this coalition of countries that Republicans do not like is clearly working against American interests. How they can somehow want to support that in some way, I think that can be leveraged rhetorically in some way, shape, or form. And just real quick,
it's a really good
exactly.
It's a really good pitch against isolationists as well. When you say, "Hey, there's already states out there that want to destroy us. Now you want to take everybody home." The match has already been struck, buddy. Sorry.
Exactly. I wonder whether. So the difference. So flipping that, like, why is it they then support Russia and don't support these others? And there's been a lot of ink spilt on the idea that very conservative Republicans, like Christian nationalist Republicans, they look to Putin and see him as some kind of traditional values guy. I mean, even though the reality on the ground is that the church attendance in Russia is actually really, really low. But Putin sold himself, because he knows that, because he's a clever guy, and he sold Russia on being this place that stands up for traditional Christian values. And you get that's really found fertile ground with the GOP, certain elements of the MAGA GOP, that then actually look at Russia and say, I want my country to be more like that than I do to be more like the degenerate Europeans or the degenerate Democrats.
Yeah, and you have the pundits as well, Jonathan, like Tucker Carlson going to a Russian supermarket, and he's like, wow, they've got shop. You know, a lot of people don't believe they've got shopping carts, and they have shopping carts and bread. I didn't know they had bread, and people don't know this. And somehow this is like this pro-Ukraine Russian message of look how cool and amazing their country is. You get your average boomer, you know, Facebook mom sees that, it's like, oh, I guess Russia's great. So it's pretty bad. Yeah, I'm 99% certain these people are being funded by Russia. That Tenet media thing is, you know, just a drop in the bucket of you know, the dissemination of Russian propaganda. So God knows if Tulsi Gabbard, who is a RT contributor, is pro-Russia, and I'm actually curious, Nick, to hear your you know, your best case elevator pitch for like whether or not Trump is literally a Russian asset. Obviously, he's working in their interests, but I'm curious to your knowledge, like what, like if you had to pitch this to your average Trump supporter, how do you know he's controlled by him? Like or what is your best evidence of that? Because like obviously I suspect it, but like you seem to be very sure.
I don't usually talk about it. The reason I don't usually talk about it is because it makes it too easy for me and everyone else that agrees with me to be tossed into the conspiracy theorist. But I'm sitting there going, if you look at it, it's not that hard. First of all, if you understand how the Soviet ideology works, they get blackmail on everybody. They get blackmail on their own citizens. When they build buildings, they put cameras and it is literally why, I mean, the book 1984 was written to tell you how Stalin operated, and that all of that is exactly what and when you have a foreigner who comes in, they put them in a bugged hotel room, they record everything. 9 times out of 10 doesn't really result in much. They don't care. They're aware of that. They're waiting for the one that they can get compromat on, that they can compromise, they can blackmail later. First thing with Trump is that he was in Russia for an extended period trying to do a business deal, which, by the way, got pulled until he became president and then got reinstated. But that notwithstanding, the Steele report made a lot of allegations because there was the PP tape and everything else. People are like, it sounds kind of, I'll be honest, there's some verisimilitude to that, because people with a lot of money get bored. They do crazy things. They go on yachts. I mean, have you, you know, I'm like, I I don't know if it's true or not, but we've already confirmed enough elements of the Steele report. And the guy was former MI6. So he had the credentials to write this, and he had to know how crazy it must have sounded. He didn't want to write that. So he wrote it because he felt it could be backed. So first of all, I believe, yes, they have compromat on him. The second problem is that he went bankrupt, and he had this party where he was like, I'm going to come out like Rocky, and he was wearing the Rocky trunks, and he comes out and he's all this other stuff. But he had declared bankruptcy on his Atlantic City casino and the hotel. I forget where that was. He, by this point, had 4 bankruptcies under his belt, and no bank in the United States would touch him, because once you declare bankruptcy, the bank is going to get maybe 30 cents on the dollar back. So nobody was going to give him loans. Everything he does is by leverage. So if you can't get loans, you're done. So he was in debt, couldn't get loans, and then all of a sudden, Deutsche Bank started loaning him money. The first loan was for $700 million, but they wouldn't do it without a backer. Who was the backer? Bank of Moscow. Who is the chairman of the Bank of Moscow? Vladimir Putin. And then
plausible, huh?
I'm drawing the Glenn Beck like strings in my head right now, but it does make sense. It's making a lot of sense. Yeah.
In 2008, he also had a mansion that was, I don't know if you were going to say this, but he had a mansion that he sold for 2.32 times the value of what it was. So he ends up pocketing 90 million, and who bought that? A Russian oligarch. So that's a way of a Russian oligarch getting money to him kind of legally, but you're paying well over the odds for a piece of property.
He does not see. He is not a Russian agent in the sense that he is not officially on any payroll. He is not officially a spy. And we just recently had that they actually have a code name for him, which doesn't surprise me, because this is one of their techniques. Thank you. That was it. So my belief is that they have succeeded. And I think, by the way, the fact that they succeeded in blackmailing him actually endears him to them more. And the reason is because, as a narcissist, it's sort of like, well, wow, if they can kind of maneuver me like this, these are the guys I want to hang with.
Interesting.
So okay. I think even as a narcissist, this is why he's so fond of Putin, and so he will pretend to go against their interests. He'll pretend to be open-minded, but I think ultimately he likes them. I think ultimately he likes the way they think. I think he thinks the same way. He's a bully too. So is Putin. And I think that there is enough both blackmail and just monetary incentive that he is all but an agent for. He's not maybe in writing. He was installed by, and he doesn't know it consciously. He's just like, I like them, because who wouldn't? Because they're powerful.
I do.
Yeah. He is their agent.
He's psychologically aligned enough that it makes him a useful idiot to be easily manipulatable. So I think he's both an asset, potentially an agent, like you say, an agent in a way that he is, somewhat compromised.
I forget what they call it, like a passive agent, but there's a name for it.
Manufactured consent, maybe? I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and reflexive control. So that he's a person that can easily be manipulated to do exactly what they want him to do, but then he feels like he's the one with agency and he's doing it freely. But actually, they've contrived the situation and predicted what he would do, etc., etc. So there's a lot of reflexive control. There's a lot of alignment. He wants to be Putin. He wants to be a strong man. He was most proud of being on The Apprentice more than he was proud of being the president. So he just wants to be able to fire people. In fact, didn't we hear today that he said there was a piece saying there's a rumor that he really liked the way that Vladimir Putin can just have anyone killed he wants. So this is another element, like the Trump is just wants to be that kind of person, and that means he's very susceptible.
Nick,
let's go. Hold on, I got you. Let's go with. Okay, you go, Nick, and then we got to go to Chungus.
Can Nick give us the nickname, the code name? You mentioned you didn't give us the code name. Krasnov. Oh, I thought it would be like golden toilet.
Stands for orange in Russian. Stands for orange.
Somebody put into Gronk, they said, what is the likelihood that this president is a foreign agent? And they did it for the last 5 presidents. Every president came in with Gronk, the AI came in at less than 1% chance that they were a foreign agent. When it got to Trump, 85% chance when they plugged it into It's an AI. It's a new.
I trust Elon's AI. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Let's go with Chungus. He's been had his hand up.
Oh God, I almost forgot my thought. I think one thing we didn't cover on this whole thing was let's talk about his first wife, Ivana Trump. She was from Czechoslovakia, and she had ties to the intel agency there. And a common practice back then was to honeypot rich Westerners to get them to do what they want. And she is the one that set up the arrangements for him to go to Moscow. He's compromised from day one. What they had on him, what the USSR ever had on him, I don't know. Who knows what it was? You can use your imagination. It's probably terrible. Probably makes Epstein look like a freaking pastor in the Catholic Church.
I was going to say, the public stuff's pretty bad. Like,
but, yeah. Anyways, so whatever has already been done, it's been transferred over to Russian Federation. This has been a long time in the making. And like you guys said, every time he flew to Moscow, he came back, his business magically did well. You don't just bankrupt 6 casinos because you haven't learned your lesson. You're doing it because you're laundering money. I mean, that's the easiest way. I know that. I live in Northern California. I know that. I know if you want to bring drugs from a different country, you bring them to a casino and you get them in that way. That's how you get them cleared out.
I interviewed Zarina Zabriskie, who has done an awful lot of research into this, among others, like Craig Unger and whatnot. I interviewed her, and if you just a bit of a plug here, but if you want to get a whole account from 1977 to the present day of all the connections, the timeline of all the things that connected, like for example, 1987 when he went to Moscow, which is what Chungus was referring to, he goes to Moscow, he comes back and he spends $130,000 taking out full-page adverts slagging off NATO. Why would a real estate mogul do that? Like, you give me an explanation why someone who's never shown any interest in foreign policy goes to Moscow, comes back and takes out full-page ads slagging off NATO. Like, it's just... So yeah, there are lots of things, and like his first wife coming from Czechoslovakia, and the STB, their secret service, very much under the KGB, was, in fact, there's freedom of information, so they know that her family was monitored, and Trump would have been monitored, as you would completely expect.
Guys, every time this British guy says Chungus, I lose it. It sounds so beautiful
for monitoring. So yeah, you can put it all together, and it certainly looks pretty plausible.
Absolutely. Rudy, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, not really. Just I mean, there's so many reasons as to why Trump is at the very least an asset of Russia, if not an actual agent. I mean, he's absolutely compromised, and I mean, it's just still so hard to accept, man. The fact that he made it back to the White House, and he's just, he's been there 60 days, and he's done so much damage already. So I mean, it's just scary, just to think of what the next 4 year has.
Let's I want to get everybody's take on the Signal group chat. We had Johnny Pierce kind of bring that up a little bit, but that's the big thing. Let's go ahead and get your guys' take in any order. Anyone that has a take on it. Signal group chat, Houthi text.
Go ahead,
Rudy. Go ahead,
okay.
Rudy.
No, I mean, I've been having conversations with these people on, on TikTok and stuff. I may usually make videos on there at night, and there's still a bunch of people that are claiming, the fact that it's not classified information. I've been meaning to have a conversation with my uncle. He's a retired captain in the Air Force, and just to hear it from somebody's mouth would just reassure what we already know, and that's the fact that they did absolutely, undoubtedly, leaked classified information. So they need to be held accountable, and it's just they're just I don't know. This is
so obvious. It's so obvious. That's the frustration.
Yeah.
Like, that if this had happened with the Democrats, Fox News would have imploded.
Literally.
A black hole.
Yeah. They'd be talking about it for 10 years, like Hillary's emails.
Launch times before the mission goes off, the launch times and what type of aircraft and the weapons being used.
They will definitely be fired at this time right now for sure.
I wouldn't be going to my girlfriend's house. I'd be going into a bunker. So thank God they didn't accidentally add Houthi war general into the group chat.
Literally.
There was a lady. There's a lady that posted that was calling her senator that her husband's life was put at risk because of this, and she's like livid. She's pissed.
Was
She'll make it her life's work to follow this man to every fucking town hall or anything to make him lose his fucking job.
And yet you've got Jesse Waters going, everyone's phoned them.
Everyone's texted the wrong person
accidentally, haven't they?
Who hasn't let the air out of the tires of their interns so they can offer them a ride home and marry them? Who hasn't done that? You know,
hearing Mike Walls, the director, our national security director, say how the guy's name got into his phone. Well, maybe it got zapped into there or something. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We have Elon. We have the best tech men looking into this. What is happening? Well, he also, I don't know if you guys saw his public Venmo leak, and he has all the contacts of all these journalists, and it's like clearly, like at any moment he could have typed the wrong letter, hit enter, and suddenly, you know, some journalist, maybe a Russia Today journalist, now has this. It's insane, and he's the director of national security advisor. Like, this is insane.
Well,
I know.
Yeah, that's the question. Why is he
go ahead, Nick, and then we'll go JP. Nick, JP.
Well, yeah, that's the question. Why does he have the journalist? Which means that he's not loyal. There's something going. He had that name for a reason, but he didn't do that deliberately. I'll say that, and it doesn't matter whether it was classified or not. The Espionage Act does not require that it was classified. Only that it was information that should not have been released to the public. Period. End of discussion. They violated the Espionage Act. They've already done it. There is no negotiating on it. For me, I am delighted because anytime I get upset at the state of our world today, I just watch the testimony again, fall out of my chair laughing, and I just feel so good. This has been a blessing from God. Thank you. I am so delighted. It's just hilarious.
Nick, I have a question. Doesn't the Espionage Act require intent? Because I know they broke the U.S. Code, was it 793 Section F, like negligent handling of classified information. But does the Espionage Act, isn't that more of like a what's his name, Michael Flynn sort of thing, like, you know, undisclosed agent? Don't they have to have intent there?
There's two sections of the Espionage Act. For the second, if I recall correctly, for the second one, they do not have to have intent so long as I think it's like a reasonable person would have thought that it was. Legal does a great breakdown of. So I'm going to admit I'm getting my legal analysis from him, and if I recall what he had said was it's still a violation of the Espionage Act because you bring up a good point. So for the first. For the first, just the major part of it, because they didn't know he was in there, you can't get him because there's no mens rea. Mm-hmm. But the mens rea requirement for the another part of the Espionage Act is not necessary so long as, and I forget what example he gave, something like, you know, if you're in a dining room and you're just talking about open secrets, well, yeah, you know, you didn't mean for the guy next to you to hear you, but any reasonable person would have known. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go JP, and then Brett has a statement.
I find it stunning, like that this happened. It's like, you know, you go to Jeffrey Dahmer and you say, look, Jeffrey, like, you've done some, lots of people are saying you've done some freaking terrible things, mate. So what we're going to do, we've had a word with all of us police department, we've had a word, right? And what we want, Jeffrey, is we want you to do the investigation into whether you've committed all these murders, right? So do you mind just going away? We'll compel you to do that. Just go away and just come back to us with a report into whether you actually, you know, killed and ate all these people, whatever. Right? And so Jeffrey Dahmer goes away and comes back like, yeah, I'm innocent. Okay, fair enough. So Mike Walls, like, is the guy that's been tasked with it with doing the investigation into checks notes. Mike Walls. So you're like, what is like?
Right, exactly. Brett, and then Renegade.
Did you guys also hear that Jack Kent was on this too? He's a nominee. He's not even been vetted already yet. He was all that was also discovered. I don't know how anybody's talking about that as well. And he's like a radical dude that he's nominated. Trump's got him nominated for director and something terrorism in country.
Does that mean he doesn't have clearance yet? Like
yeah, correct. Because he hasn't been approved by the Senate yet. He's not a member of the cabinet. He's a civilian. He's not even a journalist.
Yeah, exactly. Chungus.
The fact that we even have to have a conversation about this that we know it's so clear cut what happened. The fact that we even have to have a discussion of what happened makes me sick to my stomach more than this pickle shot I'm about to take on the house.
Let's go.
On the house.
Cheers. God bless America. It was a good run. I miss you, America.
It was a good run.
What a gentleman.
I want
to pickling his liver. I just had the thought in the background that, you know, the Republicans have a new theme song, you know, Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Well, I was going to say I was on a panel about this yesterday, and surprisingly, and thank God, there was every single right winger was like, "Yeah, this is indefensible and stupid." Like even the most diehard Trump loyalists were like, "I can't defend this," and that speaks to how obvious it is. Because they say, "Hey, he could go out and shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and everyone would support him," and that's probably true. But at the very least, like if you are so stupid, like they will. There's a limit. They had a line, so I'm happy they at least acknowledged it.
YouGov poll on March 25th, 6,000 adults. 60% of Republicans think the Trump administration's military leak is a very or somewhat serious problem. So do 89% of Democrats and 72% of independents. So, I mean, that's a massive majority even for Republicans.
The other 42% of Republicans said, "Я не знаю что."
As we're here talking. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Brett.
Sorry, one thing that I heard too that somebody brought up a valid point, like just to think if this was like a black 2-star general or something that did this, like can you imagine
anybody
be arrested and freaking hung probably already?
Yeah, or anyone. Like when I served in the military, the amount of sensitive material we had to handle, I had a secret security clearance because we had to transport ammunition to places that obviously the public can't know. It's not a publicly known thing, like anti-air systems and whatnot. Like that's secret. Like you can't. That's not publicly known. Where Army bases are, anti-air positions are not. So I know we couldn't even plug in our phones into the truck computer system because in every truck, the passenger has a computer and it's like Arma, right? It is literally Arma where you're on there, like you can see where everybody is. You can communicate to the other trucks and send messages to them and communicate to the hire. Well, there's USB ports on that thing and soldiers plug their phone into it just to charge it. And that's a breach of our secret security clearance and also just handling of sensitive material. And they got demoted and then were kicked out of the military for doing that. Yeah. Simple thing, but that's the standard, and that's the standard that we have in like the military. And that's why it bothered me so much because how absolute unprofessional, absolutely just there's no excuse.
Well, Andrew.
We'll go Johnny Peace and then Swipe Bill.
Okay.
Johnny JP.
I'll tell you how you do it is you just do it so freaking obviously. Like I'll tell you how you do it. You get 5 Teslas and you just line them up in front of the White House and then you go out and you give a sales pitch for Tesla in front of all the cameras and you get in a Tesla with Elon Musk. And then you sell the Tesla to the general public and say everyone should go out and buy a Tesla. And then you get all your surrogates to go on TV and say everyone should buy a Tesla. Meanwhile, someone that works for the freaking Parks and Rec or whatever can't suggest a restaurant that someone can go to in case they get sacked, right? So that's what you do. You just do it so freaking obviously that everyone's like,
must be normal.
Too obvious. It must be all right.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to say I have to push back. Someone in my chat pushed back on that. This is really true. Have you considered that, as Fox News said, this is the most transparent administration we've ever had?
Oh boy, I didn't consider that. I didn't factor that.
Transparent is corrupt.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to name my new pickle shot the Hegseth.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say, right?
How much just pickled in like loads of alcohol?
What was the exact number in money they had to pay for lying? 700 billion or 600 some billion for lying about the election.
About the voting machine.
Yeah, Fox News. Yeah,
788 million.
750 billion or some shit.
That's it. That's all I got to say to that. Honestly,
I think your chat's got a point, though. I mean, Donald is like, we're gonna hit Iran. Vlad, do these plans look good to you? What would you do?
If I so could to the panel before we continue with our next topic, our fundraiser for Cars for Ukraine, our Easter fundraiser, Mercado Media. We're getting to the end of it, but we also have Can't I and Renegade Chungus, Brett Baba Yaga Fella, Rudy is with us, Johnny Pierce has a fundraiser, and Nick and Soypill are graciously also sharing this out to their platforms and joining with us in this panel. So thank you to everybody for doing so.
I've only just started mine, so I was doing NAFO up until pretty much yesterday. So
oh yeah. And you got some numbers now. So the overall goal is 220,000 euro. We're at 44,591 overall. So I do appreciate everybody's efforts onto this fundraiser here. And there's everybody's. We got Doug, Bradley, Levi, Jennifer, Steve, Stefan, Edward, Alan, and Andrew for donations today to the Mercado Media fundraiser. But all this goes towards the big pot, you guys. And as soon as we get to the 11,000, I'll start pushing out Chungus and Canti and JP and Rudy and Brett's fundraisers. So thank you to everybody for contributing to those. Oops, let me cancel this. Thank you everybody for contributing to that. Cool. All right.
Albert,
next,
can you elaborate in chat?
Andrew,
thank you very much for the $5.
Now because it's like 1 o'clock.
No problem.
Wait, Jonathan, can I get one thing from you before you go?
Yeah.
Because you've been saying Chungus a lot in a really nice accent, and it's very surreal hearing an American meme in a really beautiful accent. Can you say skibbity toilet for my chat?
I can say skibbity rizzler.
Oh, yes!
That's what my kids say, and I just walk around the house saying this.
I'm going to jump off my deck now.
Thank you so much.
I'm on the 5th floor.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Thank you, JP. Thanks, JP. Incredible.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna
how can they follow you? How can they follow you? Yeah, how can they follow you? How can they subscribe to you?
Just stalk me and walk just about 10 meters behind, but just wear a trilby or something. No, ATP Geopolitics. Find me on Blue Sky, Twitter, and YouTube. Yeah, that's the main one. I do like 8,000 videos a day. And so if you've got a time machine or just really very bored, come and hang out.
I could listen to you forever. Your accent's amazing.
Thanks, Johnny. Good.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You take care. Big love.
On the next one. All right. That's JP from ATP Geopolitics with us. All right. We just go around, whatever you guys want to send. What message would you send to Ukrainians right now? If you could say one thing directly to the Ukrainian people, soldiers, families, volunteers, what would that be? Anyone?
I would say
for our government.
All right, we'll go soy pill Canty.
Yeah, pretty much what Canty was saying is like, hey, look, like, I'm sorry what our government's doing. A lot of us don't support this. Like, what's happening to you is awful, and we're going to do everything we can to, keep fighting for you. So, keep at it. I know there's like all sorts of little things like this. This grassroots stuff's amazing. There's this like Ukrainian bakery that makes it's like baklava or something at my local game shop, and I go buy those. Like, just do it. We want to do what we can, and that's a message to everyone. But yeah, like we're trying, and we're sorry.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Or can't do you have more than that? Or is that
It's basically what I said. Sorry for Trump.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Any messages to the Ukrainian people? Anything you would like to say?
Though? This last rally I went to in Sacramento at the Capitol building, I didn't say much. Usually I'll go there, I'll get some content and whatever. I was there to support like 100%. What do you need us to do? What do you need me to do? Corral all the Americans? Okay, I can herd cats. Like, the time for talking at this point for Americans is over. We need to show action. We need to show that we support. They need to know that there's people out there that absolutely bleed blue and yellow for the sake of the world, not just for the sake of their country, for the sake of the better of the entire world. It's time for us as Americans to go there and show them what we're doing. Not just tell them or say things. Words are so cheap now. Like, they can hear Americans talk all day and say, oh yeah, well, I promise you for the rest of my life, I'll dedicate my life. Well, what the fuck are you doing? We need to get out there and show them what we're doing. And if that means not creating content, if that means like corralling freaking Americans at the rally or getting more people there, let me tell you, I was there a couple days ago at Sacramento, right? And there was twice the amount of Americans as ever before, because they were so pissed off at the Oval Office incident. Now is the time for us to expand. We need to find a way to gather more people who feel the same way. There's people out there fighting this every day. They don't know where to go. Like, this is an information battle. A lot of us are being silenced on all of our platforms because of what we believe in. We need to find a way to get out to the rest of the nation that, hey, there's places you can go and organize, and this is how we do it. I need everybody's help on figuring that out. You can find me at Renegade Chungus YouTube. I've got like 800 something subs, but we're killing it on the fundraiser. So come sub, please. I gotta go cook some food before the next stream.
Nice. So you tapping out?
I'll be back for the. You said Arma, right?
Yeah, we're playing Arma after.
Dude, down. Let me go make some burgers.
Hell yeah. All right, so we'll see Renegade Chungus on the Arma stream later. We got Brett and then Nick from In Time.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in there as well on that. Yeah, I don't know about where the people that are in America, but I don't see any Russian flags flying around and people saying "Go Russia" around me. It's always Ukrainian flags, and the world's still behind them. We're not going anywhere. Like I said, we're not getting tired from this, and we'll be there till victory.
Oh yeah, Nick from In Time.
I think I would suggest to them that, well, first of all, it's their resistance has been one of the most impressive things I've seen in my lifetime, and that there are people who recognize that, and there are people who recognize that resistance against, for lack of a better word, evil is as close to an absolute good as you can get, and that's what they're doing, and they are fighting a war for us because he's not going to stop. He's going to keep going, and he's going to try to take more. He's said it. This isn't my view is when a fascist dictator tells you they're going to do something, believe them. And so the war that they're fighting isn't just for Ukraine. It's for me and my kids, and it's for any country that wants to remain free. So. I feel as bad as anyone for the what the U.S. has done as a betrayal, really, and it's half of America because he got voted in by, but that just means that we have to fight too. And if we're going to have to fight, I can think of very few people I would more look up to than watching the Ukrainians and how they're handling it. So they are an inspiration, and very proud to consider any fights that we have to be ones in support of them because they're supporting us.
Oh yeah. Do you got any thoughts, Rudy?
No. Well, I mean, just the fact that this Trump administration doesn't represent the majority of Americans when it comes to Ukraine. Majority of us do care for Ukraine, and we do believe that they deserve our support. And I know. For myself, I'm going to be doing, as much as I'm able to do to support them, from making content to, whatever it is that I do. And they'll never lose my support. So.
Oh yeah, dude. That's how it's got to go. I want to open the floor here now to the panel. If anyone has a story, a moment, a reason why you got involved, let's go ahead and share it. You can go back to the start or any point. Can't I kind of shared his, but maybe more so why you got more involved in NAFO fundraising or Cars for Ukraine. Like, obviously that's how you started, Can't I? Now here you are on the stream. Maybe you helped fundraise before. Maybe you made a meme that blew up. Chungus would have been perfect for this one, but he had to go make burgers. Maybe you just showed up and felt like part of something. What do you got? Any small short story you have?
The one short story that sticks out for me is the first truck I helped fundraise. They were at like $800 out of $6,000, and the money that I was saving for 5 years to go on my trip went to that truck. That truck evacuated 17 soldiers from the front line before getting blown up. So my vacation was worth 17 lives. And that's really hard to swallow sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You don't have a short story like either Can't I or any other story why you got involved?
I really hate following up that with what I'm about to say, but I have a local game shop, like I said, and they have they sell baked goods to help support the cafe, and they had this shelf of baklava, and there's a little Ukrainian flag next to it. On this Ukrainian flag, it says this baklava is made by the Ukrainian refugees. In this, they've moved here from the war. I think it was 2020, 2021, or whatever year, it doesn't matter. The point is they came, it was interesting to see how this thing that was just on my TV on this timeline is now in my backyard. This is a place I go every weekend, and there are people who are directly affected by it, like, and being helped by my city and asking for help at the place that I frequent. And it shows to show that, like, yeah, like, you can say and talk about these things like they're so far away, but like these are people. They could just as easily be in your backyard. They align with you, and you should help them. Whether that is, buying their baklava, which is delicious, or donating to these sorts of things. And by the way, someone in my chat actually asked, like, other than this cars thing, do you guys have more links? Because I'm just going to keep throwing them into my description. So that whatever help we can do, I really want to do that. So.
Yeah, these trucks are great, and if you stay plugged in, I'll have you on more panels. I'll have other opportunities for fundraising. Like, we all do it.
Yeah, but if you have other like donations or anything, like just send them in Discord DMs, and I'll throw them in the description for this stream specifically. But yeah, thank you.
For sure. Yeah. Rudy or Rudy already went. Did you on this one? Anyone else have thoughts on a short story that you have?
Question. Can't.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead, Brett. No, you're fine.
You're in Ukraine, right? Can't I?
Yeah, I was there last spring for 3 months, and I'm going again this fall for 3 months.
And is that a 3D printer behind you?
Yes.
Are you making stuff for them?
No, that 3D printer is going in my luggage and going with me to Ukraine this fall.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Good times.
But you've been making tridents and like.
Oh yeah,
you've been making stuff. Show it.
I've been printing up, the tridents for the fundraisers and, like
sick,
phone holders and.
Wow.
Oh, what? Where are you selling them at, or where can I find them?
Where can I buy
my
some?
channel?
Exactly.
Canty Luden 1 on YouTube, and there's community post tells you exactly what you need to do if you want one.
Okay, I'll
My
figure it out.
personal favorite is, let's see if I can get these on to show up on screen.
You got. Oh yeah.
So
yeah, those are nice. 3D printed, huh?
Yeah, the base is 3D printed, and then
jeez,
just taking ribbon and doing the cross.
Yeah.
The tridents are sick.
Oh, I see. Brett has some
My
of them.
son got one. My son got one for Christmas, and he's been.
It's Art Chad. Everyone say hi to Art Chad. Go check out his channel. He just hit 100,000.
Nick, do you have a story on what you got?
No. What I was going to do was say that I was trying to think of.
Me and him are going to work out at VidCon.
In particular, funny stories, and there's a lot of footage of Russians who can't organize and jumping off of tanks and stuff like that as they're running, but we've all seen it, so I was unable to. The only good story I have is Starsky's drone story, but that's stolen. But that's a good story, but that's the only one I can steal from someone else. That's it.
Absolutely. Rudy, did you give your story or no? Or any short story, so why you kind of already said why you've gotten involved. I mean, more so like why you attached to this fundraiser, or like why do you like trucks? Why do you like helping with trucks, or anything that you like fundraising or supporting?
Just the fact, I mean, it's contributing. You know what I mean? Helping Ukraine, and this was just the first, meaningful way that I was able to help. So, I mean, that's pretty much. I've been wanting to get involved. I'm still new, although I am seeing me getting monetized. It's almost in my reach. I've been wanting to get involved with helping Ukraine for a while. So,
absolutely. Oh yeah. Brett.
I just remembered something. A good story from this. I met when I first got on Blue Sky. There was one of the fellows that I was friends with, and then another gentleman who I just started talking to, and we were talking about Propanenko, the commander for. He was a prisoner of war and got released. Dennis, I forget what his call sign was too, but. I posted a story about him, and this gentleman reached out to me and DM'd me, and and he was telling me about his brother who was fighting for Ukraine, and we kind of connected and were DMing, and then all of a sudden I bumped into who I thought he was talking about as one of the fellows on Blue Sky, and I asked him, I didn't want to blow any OPSEC or anything, but I connected the two of them. It turns out this is a message that I got like the next day. Sent to Bob, oh my God, you have no idea how much you have helped heal a family. John has been in the military serving in units with no names since the 80s. He's been involved in every major conflict since then as a sniper. He was home safe in 2017. Then we watched the news and saw ISIS killing kids. I knew from the look in his eyes he was already gone. 3 weeks later, he was fighting alongside the Kurds. He was on his way back when Putin started killing kids, and he diverted. The next I heard of him, he was on the BBC News when he was in Russia facing the death penalty. Meanwhile, everything here shattered. His mom died of cancer. He got cancer. The family home went. He was a victim of identity theft while he was in the hospital. He lost all his social media accounts, phones, bank accounts, everything. He's not spoken to John in 7 years. He thought that he had been shunned, that he had no access to his Facebook's accounts, that he thought John just gave up on him. You saw our first contact. He's talking about me, and he spoke to him that day. He's seeing him next week. I had only joined here. She's talking about Blue Sky a week ago. I'd long since had any notions of fate or angels around me. The last thing I expected was a random yank flyboy. He's talking about me stepping in with some divine intervention shit and healing me. As a military man, an angel. I bet that's a first for you. I trust you to keep this info from the public. I'm happy for you to tell your family. Well, you guys don't know the names of them.
Oh, look at the time.
Wow. Gotta end the stream, my bad. Wow. Oh, goodness. What a story,
do you work for the Trump campaign? Out of curiosity?
Up until that last sentence, I was like, hey, your OPSEC was better than our NSA.
What's this journalist doing on here?
Yeah. What is Goldberg doing in the panel?
No, you guys don't know his names or anything.
No, it was fine.
It made my whole experience doing all of this worth it. So
Of course. And thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, you didn't give a name or anyone. We don't know who that is, but it's a good, touching story. Good story. That really tells us, the importance of supporting Ukraine. For me, like I said, I was just playing Madden. I had a moderately decent Madden stream going, of a lot of people watching, and then Russia invaded Ukraine, and I switched gears from streaming Madden football to now we're covering. Well, I had my journalism platform already established from 2020, but I have a gaming platform too, so that's what I was putting my energy into. And then my news channel followers pulled me into covering Ukraine or Russia's invasion, and I was up for 14 hours straight, on stream. Went to bed with the stream running, came back, that's been watching it for a while. So it was just wrong. Russia sending missiles at apartment buildings bothered me, as usually anybody would be bothered by that. So that's what I got involved into, just covering it every single day. And then when I found out ways that I could support Ukraine directly, whether through NAFO or this Cars for Ukraine fundraiser, we literally I just played a video at the start of watching the trucks roll out to the front lines, and that's pretty transparent. And people are asking for transparency these days. And let's a quick check-in on that before we get to our closing remarks from everybody for being a part of this amazing panel. And we're doing excellent. 9,000.
Albert, I'll get to that in just a second. Thank you so much.
Yeah, 9,851 out of 56 donations. I appreciate that support for our fundraiser, and overall together with all of our efforts, we're at 45,125 euro out of 220,000 euro, 481 donations. And thank you to everybody for contributing to this. We had a big 208 euro from Marta. Thank you so much, Marta. And then we also had Dunk on You 23 drop some. Alex, Doug, Bradley, Levi, Jennifer, Stepan, Edward, Alan, and Andrew dropped donations today during our Panelooza. We had a panel earlier and we had a panel now, and we're just paneling it up today on this Friday with everyone. So I appreciate your guys' support on that one. All right. So before we wrap up, I want to go around one more time and hear final thoughts from everybody. Could be a message to supporters, something you learned tonight, or just a final thought, on anything. And then also shout out your channel and where people can follow you. All right. In any order, let's just start with Rudy.
I was hoping I was going to go last. or second to last or something. But yeah, no, just we're gonna keep on supporting Ukraine and getting as much donations as possible. My channel is Rudy's Reaction, and you may be able to find it under Rudy Acosta. It has two big old R's right next to each other, so that's my channel. It's pretty you can spot it out pretty easy. But I'm sure I'll be doing this again with you guys here soon, and I look forward to it. Also, it was nice to meet In Time Show Nick, I believe, and the soy pill. I'm pretty sure I think I've seen it in your channel actually. But anyways, it was nice to meet you guys.
Of course, thank you, Rudy. Brett.
Yeah, Nick, I've watched you on, I don't know if it was on Mercado's channel with another stream or Dylan. I watch Dylan Burns a lot too. I watch both Andy Mercado and Dylan Burns.
Let's go, Dylan.
Silicon Curtain, as well as ATP Geopolitics, and Soy Pill. I've seen you, I think, on Dylan Burns' channel as well. So it's nice to meet you guys, and this is a great cause. It's a great group of people so far. Everybody that I've met, the new people, can't I? It was pleasure meeting you, and glad to hear your story and everything. I can be found just only on Blue Sky. I was on X to follow this war, but with my hate of Trump and Musk, that was quickly cut short, and I was banned from there. 2 days before the elections, not shocking, not surprising enough. But I'm on Blue Sky. It's Baba Yaga Fella Baba Yaga Fella social.bsky.
Oh yeah, it's a long one. I told you it's like my military account, andrew.mercado.mil@mail.mil.com.org. Like it was the worst. All right, can't I?
Well, first I want to shout out all the anonymous donations out there on the donor wall. Thank you guys for donating. We don't get to say your name or see that it was you, but we do appreciate it. And if you can't donate, look at ways to donate your time. There is so many other groups out there. Like one of the groups I work with is Engine. English IN. They help Ukrainians practice and learn English. I've helped 4 students so far. I shouldn't say students, but partners practice and improve their English. The only requirement is that you're a native English speaker. Those 4 people now have higher paying, better jobs, and they're able to donate because of those promotions because they learned English better. So you can have add-on effects, even just spending an hour a week.
Absolutely. Nick from In Time.
Well, first of all, it was a pleasure meeting all of you guys. I've actually already known most of you. I know Canty well. I go into his live chat and cause trouble all the time. It's an absolute delight. But my first time streaming with many of you, so that was a pleasure. Holy fuck. I mean, the amount of shit that's been going wrong when you take a look at Ukraine and wars and Trump, and I knew Trump was going to screw stuff up, but this is just insane. And I love the Signal thing because it's the epitome of Trumpiness. It's the epitome of this whole thing. And so you look at it and you say, this can't be real, but it is. And so I guess as a final message, what I would say is there's a lot of suffering that we're watching and covering, and we see, and it gets tough. And Canty every night goes through the suffering and some of the positives that you see in Ukraine and soy, and it can get hard. But life is strange. The Signal, and here we had. I thought that Ukraine was done when Trump said we're cutting off when they said that we're cutting off the funding. I was like, okay, maybe you can help. And then he's like, we're cutting off the intel too. And I was just like, what? I mean, are you trying to murder human beings? I mean, what do you So I mean, are you personally best friends with Satan, or just explain it to me? And then all of a sudden, in walks Zelensky, calm head, doesn't freak out, gets everything he wanted back, and goes right back to and it's not done, it's not over. And so there are people, there's about 300 watching here, there's people watching with Soy and on others, and a lot of them are saying, I wish I could do more. Well, there are these donations that people can do. You can like and subscribe to Merck and to people who are helping others learn about this. But life is strange and life is short. So if you're in a comfortable position right now, you may not be in 5 or 6 years. If you're in a horrible position, you might get that angel that Brett was talking about. You never know. And we've seen it. That's why, Zelensky just pulled a miracle out of his ass twice. I don't know what's going to happen. But everybody listening to me right now has a friend who maybe needs some help too. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's not. I don't know. All of you here know people. The better we are and the more that we put out, the better we tend to get back. It's not a one-to-one. Good people die. Bad things happen. Make it better for other people as best you can. And then your life means something, because life is going to be, I guarantee you, life is going to be shorter than you thought it was going to be. My name is Nick Suter. I am the executive producer and head host of In Time. You can find us at youtube.com/In-Time Show. Once again, thank you all. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Nick. Before we get to Soy Pill, Brett has a comment.
Yeah, hi guys. I got to jump off to eat dinner with the family,
Okay,
but
yep.
it was a pleasure. Like I said,
Nice to meet you.
it was nice meeting some of the newer people, and I'll be back anytime I'm available, and you invite me, Mark. I'll be back.
Sounds
Any of
good,
you
Brett.
guys.
Thanks for your time. Yep, take care.
Thanks.
All right, and the Soy Pill.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Well, like everyone said, this is an unjust war. We need to support them any way we can. Donations, volunteering, all of that is very good. And I really appreciate Nick and everyone else here who taught me, like answered my questions and helped me get more informed on this. I had vague, knowings of all this stuff, but you guys are really deep into it. And I appreciate the knowledge that you bring and educating people like me. And just to my audience and anyone else who's listening, a big staple of my channel is trying to reach out to people that don't agree with you and try to convince them. Do that where you can and talk to them about how crazy it is that our president is letting Russia do these insane things. Talk to them about, try to leverage their hatred of Iran. I know it's not great, sometimes it's tied to Islamophobia for some right wingers, but hey, play the cards as you get them, play as they lie. So do what you can, try to reach out to people, convince them that Ukraine needs help, and help where you can, because this is really important. Innocent people are dying and it's an unjust war. Support Ukraine. Yeah. Oh, you can find me at the Soy Pill on YouTube. I make video essays and occasionally I do fundraisers now, which is awesome. So thanks for inviting me.
Just getting conscripted into another Ukraine panel.
I was going to say, you mentioned Dylan Burns. I just replaced him on the previous debate panel because he had to drop out for hopefully not a crazy emergency. But yeah, now I'm here raising money for Ukraine. I guess I'm the new Dylan Burns. So.
You are. You have. He was on our panel earlier. Yeah, he's just got some stuff going on.
Okay.
With him.
I just hope it's okay.
Yeah, it's just some stuff. Our Easter fundraiser, you guys, again, total €9,851 out of €11,000. I just want to give a huge thanks to everyone who pulled up tonight, whether you donated, tuned in, shared the link, or just vibed with us. You made a difference. Cars for Ukraine in this panel is not about big headlines like I cover, like the Soy Pills, big eloquent videos on current events, right? We're just kind of putting together a fundraiser. It's about boots on the ground, trucks in motion, and lives saved. And the fact that we, a bunch of meme-loving, freedom-supporting, pro-Ukraine individuals, right, can help do that, that's power, I think. So even if you just catch us on replay, the link is going to be in the description. It's also pinned in the comments. The mission's still going. Let's get more wheels to the front lines. Slava Ukraine and glory to the heroes. All right. Now, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'm going to be on Arma if any of you guys want to come play Chungus. Maybe taking on the Russians.
Half hour, so I'll join you guys after the stream.
Fun, guys.
All right.
I have made a determination. I will join you on one of your gaming streams, but you and I play different. I've got like Borderlands and all these others. We will sort it out. It ain't gonna be tonight, but I'm gonna be there.
We'll play Warzone when the new Verdansk comes out. Remastered Verdansk. Yep. All right, guys. You have a good night. Take care. And also, buy Soy Pills stream, buy In Time Show stream, and Can't I and Rudy, were you guys streaming?
Not yet.
Okay, well, In Time Show and Nick, Soy Pill. You guys have your chat. Have a good night.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye. Well. That was a fun little, impromptu panel. Those guys are all real smart, real cool guys. Please go check them out if you haven't already. Go to that donation link. And I didn't read your last one. Albert, you super chat me so much in the past videos. Thank you so much for your support. The $10. You were deployed in Kyrgyzstan years ago, which is part of the USSR, and most of the nationals were very anti-Russia. Hopefully it can continue to exist, as does Ukraine and all countries in that area. Yeah, that's crazy that you were in Kyrgyzstan. I didn't even know if we had... I noticed you spelled it slightly differently than I've seen it before, without the Z's and the G's. Maybe is this a different thing, Kyrgyzstan? But yeah, it's crazy, and hopefully we can leverage the fact that so many of these people hate Russia against the crazy imperialist expansion. Although now it seems like America's kind of hopping on that train, which is insane. Oh, I'm a Gumo. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Glad to get to know a bit more in depth of what's going on. Yeah, a very chill stream of a debate that I felt was pretty easy at the beginning, and then he had to drop out, and now we're learning about Ukraine. So if you want to get educated on Ukraine, I'd recommend Ukraine, the latest podcast for when you're working out or something. Okay, I will check that out for sure. Thank you. Yeah, that was that was the Dylan Burns replacement stream, which was really fun. Just go in, replace him on a debate panel, and go raise money for Ukraine. But it feels good. So yeah, guys, please go check that out. I will, oh, by the way, if you noticed, I was looking at my phone a couple times. It's because when I doxed myself, people Googled me and found my phone number. So please don't do that. I'm going to try to blur it out in the VOD, but I know it's out there forever now, and it would have happened eventually. But, don't call me. Don't send pizzas to my address. I would appreciate it. I know some assholes are going to do it. Haha, prank. Yeah, my OPSEC sucks, but hey, I'm not the national security advisor. I'm not Pete Hegseth. I'm not fucking any of these dipshits who leak stuff. But I do leak stuff, and yeah, just be nice people. I wouldn't do that to you. Please don't do it to me. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am going to the Tesla protest tomorrow. Actually, if anyone is in that area and wants to help me film, send me a DM, and I will probably be doing a video on Tesla. But depending on how entertaining that interview is, because it's not Trump supporters, it's a bunch of people that hate Tesla, I may push that one off a little bit, and it depends on how fast I can make it. Otherwise, as soon as some games come out that I really want to play, I will play them on stream, and I will do more panels like this. I think I might be on the masculinity one next week. Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Go support the Ukraine fundraiser. Type 1 to them, the deep state, and have a beautiful weekend, guys. Good night.